Huh?
Before you do that,
We're hot, man.
we're hot.
At first, it could be everybody, right?
Okay.
Because really, truth be told, you know what I'm saying? This is what it's gonna happen. Yeah.
Shalom, everybody. Wow. I hope everybody's doing Tawab today, and welcome to another Shabbat class. We're rocking and rolling. Once again, a reminder for everyone, the Passover is April 17th. So that's like a hop, skip, and a jump away. We're right there. So it's going to be in Houston, Texas. We're going to, I don't know the address off the top of my head, but for those of us who signed up for it, the information is on the sign-up sheet. It's going to be a good opportunity for us to get reacquainted with the brothers and sisters out here in different cities, getting the work in, doing the work. So it's going to be a good time. For those of y'all who haven't paid up on your garments, you got to get at least half in, because we can't progress forward without putting half down, because we just can't do it. There's a lot of money being dispersed out, not enough coming in. So with that being said, let's continue to push forward on that, and let's have a good class today. Let's get rolling, and we're going to start off with our prayers. Okay? So Israel, no, we're just us on the podium. Imagine. Come on, man. Listen. Wait a minute, mine is all messed up, man. 1 second, John. Just see this real quick. Give me 1 second, Joe. Oh, hold on. Listen, one thing at a time. I just want to make sure. Prayer, 10 Commandments. Got that. Cool. And that. Come on. And that's where the Psalms. All right, cool. More. All right. Barak atah Yahweh b'Hashem Yahshua.
Barak atah Yahweh b'Hashem Yahshua.
Ahwar. Natan Awar. Zayawam. Aman.
Bless you, Yahweh, in the name of Yahushua that gives to us light this day. Thanks, so be it.
Barak atah Yahweh b'Hashem Yahshua.
Barak atah Yahweh b'Hashem Yahshua.
Ahwar. Natan Rayach. Nayachacha. Aman.
Bless you, Yahweh, in the name of Yahushua that gives to us sweet savor. Thanks, so be it.
Imagine Waponya Yerushalayim.
Stand and face Jerusalem.
Barak atah Yahweh b'Hashem Yahshua.
Barak atah Yahweh b'Hashem Yahshua.
Ahwar. Natan Hashabbat. Bashalom.
Amen. Bless you, Yahweh, in the name of Yahushua that gives to us the Sabbath in peace. Thanks, so be it.
Psalms 121. Anasha, Ayanyamya, Ahoyam, Ma'aya, Yabua'a, Isaiah, Yabua'a, Ma, Yahweh, Sha'isha, Shemayim, Wa'aratiza, Yanathan, Lamawat, Regalia, Yala'a, Nawam, Shashamaya, Hana, Yala'a, Nawam, Wala'a, Yashan, Shashamaya, Yashra, Yahweh, Shemaya, Yahweh, Cesaria, Ayo, Yanyamya, Yad, Hashemash, Yala'a, Hakaya, Wayawam, Wala'a, Halabana, Halayala, Yahweh, Yashimoya, Makol, Ray, Yashimoya, Napasha, Yahweh, Yashimoya, Walakia, Wabu'aya, Ma'aitha, Wa'ay,
Psalms 121. I will lift up mine eyes unto the hills, from whence cometh my help. My help cometh from the Lord Yahweh, which made heaven and earth. He will not suffer thy foot to be moved. He that keepeth thee will not slumber. Behold, he that keepeth Yashala shall neither slumber nor sleep. Yahweh is thy keeper, Yahweh is thy shade upon thy right hand. The sun shall not smite thee by day, nor the moon by night. Yahweh shall preserve thee from all evil. He shall preserve thy soul. Yahweh shall preserve thy going out and thy coming in from this time forth, and even forevermore. Amen.
Amen. Israelite Credo. Shema Yashala, Yahweh, Eloheinu, Yahweh, Echad. Shema Yashala, Yahweh, Eloheinu, Yahweh, Echad. Shema Yashala, Yahweh, Eloheinu, Yahweh, Echad.
Deuteronomy chapter 6 verse 4. Hear, O Israel, the Lord our power is one power.
Okay. Lord's Prayer. Abanawa, Shabbat Shemayim, Wadash, Haya, Shemka, Yahweh, Walakwaka, Baba'ah, Ratizaka, Haya, Aisha, Ba'aratiza, Hawa, Haya, Bashemayim, Niftan Lanao, Lacham, Yawam, Wasalachna, Chel Watina, Chasalachna, Chel Watina, Wala'ah, yeah, no. One side one. A ball. I will shine out. Mayan. Right. Kaya. Laka. I'm a like what?
Matthew chapter 6 verse 9. After this manner therefore pray ye, Our Father which art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done in earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our debts as we forgive our debtors. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, and the power, and the glory forever. Amen.
Amen. 10 Commandments. La'a Yahaya, Laka, Alahaya, Achaya, Aya, Hanya.
Thou shalt have no other powers before me.
2. La'a, Ta'ina, Laka, Basar, Wala'a, Ta'ibadu.
Thou shalt not make unto thee any graven image, nor serve them.
3. La'a, Thalach Wachat, Sham, Yahweh, Mashawa.
Thou shalt not take the name of the Lord thy power in vain.
Number 4. Zakar, Hayawam, Hashabah, Lakwadashwa.
Remember the Sabbath day to keep it holy.
Number 5. Kabak, Abaka, Ya'amaka.
Honor thy father and thy mother.
Number 6. La'a, Tharatiza.
Thou shalt not kill, murder.
Number 7. La'a, Thana'a.
Thou shalt not commit adultery.
Number 8. La'a, Thagana.
Thou shalt not steal.
Number 9. La'a, Tha'ana, Shakwar.
Thou shalt not bear false witness against thy neighbor.
Number 10. La'a, Thachamat, Asherah, Lara'aika.
Thou shalt not covet anything which is thy neighbor.
Barakatah Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahshai.
Barakatah Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahshai.
Ahwar up. Ahwar up.
Blessed are you, Yahweh, in the name of Yahweh Shai, that gives to us the law.
Okay. Israel Yeshavim.
Take seats.
I didn't do this, man. Do your bird magic over here, man.
Tell you, bird magic, man. That's all you gotta do.
It's all murder.
It's all bird magic, guys. It's when in doubt, put more myrrh in there.
That's what you gotta do. I'm telling you,
Hey, if it's too cold, make the adjustment.
listen, majority 3 kings, a couple of frankincense, and the rest of myrrh magic. Oh, bro.
Okay, so listen, everybody. We're gonna get started, and just kind of a recap from last week that we didn't get in. So we're going 2 weeks back, and dealing with Samuel. When Samuel sat back here and was done, well, the Most High had informed Samuel that the Most High was done dealing with Saul. And if we remember, Saul was sitting back here and followed the Most High's orders only like halfway. He sat back here and he was told to take out Agag and all of the Amalekites and their animals and leave nothing living from their entire stock. So what Saul does is sits back here, he brings Agag back and the animals. And when Samuel starts to check him, he's like, listen, the animals are going to die anyway, so why not they die here for the Most High versus dying out in the land of Amalek. Point is, that was the last straw, that was the third strike, so to speak.
He pushed his way.
Exactly.
The Most High's way.
So the Most High was like, I'm done, we're moving on. So Samuel tells him the kingdom is he's no longer the king of Israel. But then what does Saul say afterwards? Take a picture with me, man, in front of all the people out. Pretty much that's what he said.
Yeah.
Just sit back here and come back to Gilgal, if I'm not mistaken, and let's at least show the people that everything's cool. What he pretty much let Samuel know is, I'm not coming off this position unless I'm forced off.
Yeah.
He was going to double down and hold on to his way until the Most High removed him.
Right.
So that's where we're at, back down in Samuel chapter 16. Okay, so let's get this started. My will.
God.
Ma'awala, Shamshawan, Bani Howdah, Bani Asherah.
Ma'awala, Shamshawan, Bani Howdah, Bani Asherah. Amaju. Bro. Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahshai Barakatah.
Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahshai Barakatah.
All right, let's get rolling. So we're at 1 Samuel chapter 16, verse 1.
Going to Josephus?
We will be going to Josephus too. So get your Josephus ready. Antiquities, book 6, chapter 8. Matter of fact, I might as well get that ready right now as we're speaking.
You need more. Anybody else need one?
Yeah.
And them out to the back.
Doesn't need one too. Yeah.
You didn't want that one?
No, that's
He said sisters need one.
Sisters.
So
What was that in
it's going to be Josephus' Antiquities, book 6, chapter 8, paragraph 1. We're going to start off in 1 Samuel chapter 16 and verse 1. So let's get this started, my water.
God. 1 Samuel chapter 16 verse 1 reads, And the Lord said unto Samuel, How long wilt thou mourn for Saul, seeing I have rejected him from reigning over Israel?
What I like about the beginning of this chapter is that you're going to read later on, I was saying in chapter 16, that even when the Jews as a whole saw Samuel, they looked at him as this cold-hearted cat. he was all fire and brimstone. He was all program. And if you didn't like to the program, get out of here, right? But if you get to know Samuel from the inside, he actually had a love and a compassion for his people also. He had a love and compassion for Saul also. But just because he was hard on Saul, because he was supposed to be hard on Saul.
Yeah.
He was supposed to be hard on Saul in regards to the program and to the service of the Most High. Didn't mean that he didn't have a love for the man. And I think a lot of times in a leadership position, it's hard to execute the program and not be looked upon as if you don't have any feelings, or you're cold-hearted, or you're merciless.
It's not gonna. You can't not be seen that way.
It's impossible. If you're gonna execute judgment the right way, you're gonna look like the bad guy.
If you're enforcing code, one-size code, and that Israel's carnal by nature, and we have to convert ourselves from a carnal thought pattern to a spiritual thought pattern, that stage takes some level of forcing. The Bible calls it prodding. When you prod a sheep, it's actually when you use a goad. A goad is a sharp part of a stick. It's like a nail at the end of a stick. And so you have to goad your sheep, meaning you're having to prick your sheep to get them to move. That's what shepherds do. When you're a teacher or you're a governor, so to speak, you're also having to prick your actual personality, your people's sheep. But you have to prick them certain ways to get them to make certain decisions and moves.
Well, you got to pull the verse. It's Ecclesiastes in the Bible,
Yeah, pull it.
12 and 11.
Yeah.
Ecclesiastes in the Bible, 12 and 11.
Yeah.
It's in the Bible. So this verse explains what you're saying about the responsibility and the burden that being in a position of teaching and correcting forces that person to be in. So let's get there. Ecclesiastes chapter 12 verse 11. Somebody else give it my not my wallet, but Yohanan.
What's the verse?
12 and 11. Ecclesiastes.
Ecclesiastes 12 and 11 reads, "The words of the wise are as goads."
Goads. It says the words of the wise are as goads. Goads are, it's like a staff with a sharp edge at the front.
That's the definition.
What you got?
Goad, a spiked stick used for driving cattle.
Listen, and that stick, you use that stick to maneuver the animal where you need it to go. The scripture says the words of the wise are as goads. So if the words are pricking, how are the people that are providing these words going to be looked upon? There's going to be this discomfort from the wise man's words or the teacher's words that's going to keep people at a distance. The sheer nature of correction, the sheer nature of teaching and redirecting, because what this goad is doing is to redirect the animal the path that it has to go. And in the process of redirecting this animal, you're going to sit back here, you have to make that animal uncomfortable.
Exactly.
So pretty much the animal is going to be in fear of that goad.
Yeah.
In fear of you. So this is the process that happens when you start to take over your house, when you start to put your home in order, when you start putting the school in order.
Yeah.
There's going to be this air of discomfort that comes from being in a position of having to establish judgment.
Because you're going from one stage to a more potent stage. To a more potent stage. And the more potent we get, the more we increase as a camp. That means we're going to get more uncomfortable as a group. That's just what the nature of leadership is.
And that process of goading and pushing and prodding, it makes the person who is the I guess the orator or the orchestrator of that push, it makes them look like they're unapproachable,
offensive,
cold, difficult to deal with, insensitive. That's how they looked at Samuel. That's why when they saw Samuel come down, are you here for peace or for some bad news?
Because he had to go.
He was the one that was establishing judgment.
But a lot of times that correction is grievous. And so therefore it can be mistaken or misunderstood as this person don't like me. You know what I'm saying? Just to prove that, go to Ecclesiastes chapter 18 verse 13 in Apocrypha. Ecclesiastes chapter 18 verse 13.
Ecclesiastes in the Apocrypha 18 and 13.
Ecclesiastes 18 and verse 13.
Read that.
The mercy of man is toward his neighbor.
Read on. Just like we're supposed to have mercy towards our neighbor. Go ahead. But how does the Most High deal with us? Read on.
But the mercy of the Lord,
if you understand what's right from the Most High, go ahead,
is upon all flesh.
And how does the Most High deal with all flesh? Read on.
He reproveth.
He does what?
He reproveth.
So how do you reprove somebody? You got to reprove them with sharp words. That's how you sometimes incite somebody. That's how you motivate somebody, with sharp words. Go ahead.
And nurture.
But that doesn't mean because I'm hitting you with sharp words, that doesn't mean I don't care about you.
Huh?
I still love you, but I got to tell you the truth. I still love you, but I got to be honest to you. I can't co-sign your feelings, or I can't care so much about your feelings or your emotions.
Huh?
Or if you don't like me,
that I deprive you from your spiritual growth.
Right. Or this is a punishment for destruction. This is not a punishment for destruction. It's edification. But part of edification is sharp, and it cuts, it stings, it hurts. Words burn, they hurt. Read on.
And teaching.
But that's how you do what?
Teaching.
That's how you teach. You so you reprove, but you nurture. So it's a combination of both. I'm checking you, but I'm also showing you love. I'm not just checking you and then leaving you to your own will and own devices. I'm checking you, but I'm showing you that I care about you also.
On what you're saying, even when you read Nehemiah chapter 9, I'm not going there, but it reminds us that the Most High's mercy is based on the fact that He never gave up on us. Not the fact that He didn't correct us and check us. It was the fact that while He's checking us, while He's stinging us, He's there waiting for us to get back right. He's there waiting for us to see the slightest sign of change and advancement. He never gave up. And that's what the mercy of the Most High is. So with the fire, the goads, the correction, the reproaching, but He's still there, walking us through the path and helping us get back right. What was you gonna say?
This is why, for us, as camp method, we train young soldiers, young officers. When you get in a position of leadership, if you're going to correct and be a goal towards a man, you must spend time with them off of work sites.
Yep.
You must spend time with them outside of your normal arena, because you have to show them and spend that time to show them that this is not personal and we still have a nurtured relationship.
And with that time you're bringing out,
yeah,
everything you're saying is right, everything you're saying is right. But with that time you're spending, you have to make sure you're leading from the front. So your example is there with your words. Your words and your actions have to match up. So they have a physical example that they can sit back here and follow, and not just a person throwing out hypocritical words.
Yeah. That's what I was about to say.
And that's what we have to make sure we understand. But once again, I don't want to veer it off too much from the point. I just want to bring this point about how Samuel was always viewed as this bad guy. But Samuel was mourning Saul's downfall so long, and the Most High, like, why are you still worrying about this dude?
But it was sad though, because you know what?
I know.
He was like a father.
I know.
To Saul at the same time, and it'd be with the part.
But see, that's what he was, like a father to Saul. But we're like fathers to brothers, and that's the point. And we have to invest into each other like brothers are our younger brothers and sons. These are the relationships that you forge each time a person comes into knowledge. It is like a father-son bond, or younger brother bond.
It's like Christ said, you take a hen under your wings. That's what you do. When you bring in young men, you're taking them under your wings. You're saying, I'm going to be responsible for you. I'm going to be accountable for you. But at the same time, I need you to follow these instructions.
Because that's the same relationship that we have with our children. You love them to death, but you got to ride them. Because you're doing them a disservice if you don't ride them, if you don't push them, if you don't challenge them. That dynamic is uncomfortable, especially when dealing with grown men. But it has to be established, and all this shows is loving hard. You can love a brother hard and still be hard on him. You don't got to placate somebody in the name of care and love and appreciation
or friendship.
And friendship. That's what I want to bring out about Saul and what made Samuel and what made Samuel so special, even in the fact that he had to sit back and go on to his what. Rode him hard, told him he lost his throne, and never went back to see him again. And losing that relationship does hurt. Losing relationships with brothers that you spent years and years with doesn't feel good. But what's right and what's wrong? And somebody has to live by a code and a spiritual set of honor. If not, what are we doing? So, let's let all that go and go back to 1 Samuel 16, huh? You know, not yet, because we got way more to go before we go into Josephus.
1 Samuel chapter 16, verse 1 from the top, read. And the Lord said unto Samuel, how long wilt thou mourn for Saul, seeing I have rejected him from reigning over Israel?
The reality is this. The Most High is reminding Samuel, get out of your feelings. It's time for you to move on. It's time for the nation to move on. Because I've rejected him, and I've got somebody else waiting in the wings. Read on.
Fill thine horn with oil and go.
What this also shows is that, and this is something that we have to be very leery of in our own lives, in our own homes, is the Most High, you can still be in your position of head, and the Most High has rejected you. And that's a scary thought. You can still be the head of your household, and the Most High has decided to break that thing up. You can be the head of your camp and your school and over men, and there could be a point in time when the Most High is just done working with you, but you're still in that position. And it's a matter of time before he just moves you out the way. We have to fight our tails up to make sure we don't lose value in the Most High's eyes.
That moving away the Most High has, he moves his influence away because of disobedience. I established that though. Because not just he just disappeared. We're pushing the Most High away by not conforming to his will.
No doubt. And after a certain period of time of not conforming and not adjusting, the Most High is ready to put somebody else in that stead to do a job better. So let's continue. It's 1 Samuel.
Come. Fill thy horn with oil and go. I will send thee to Jesse the Bethlehemite, for I have provided me a king among his sons. And Samuel said, how can I go? If Saul hear it, he will kill me. And the Lord said, take an heifer with thee, and say, I am come to sacrifice to the Lord.
Because Samuel knew if he sat back here, walked around here with some anointing oil, the word's going to get back.
Yeah.
You have to understand that Gibeon wasn't very far from the land of Judah. It wasn't but 20 to 30 minutes of a ride. These spaces and distances weren't as far and distant as you might have thought. And he already had ears in all the cities that were pro-Saul. So he's like, man, if I sit back and walk around this anointed oil, he gonna murk me out. This dude's already unstable. He said, nah, what you do is take a heifer, which is a female cow, and just let people think that you're just doing a regular offering for the Most High, an offering, a free will offering. Because if they see that, then nobody's going to trip. Okay? It says when you do it, go see Jesse the Bethlehemite. Okay, so read on.
God, verse 3. And call Jesse to the sacrifice.
But it also gives you a picture where Saul's mind was at.
Yeah.
He wasn't all spiritual.
This wasn't spiritual. In the mode he was in.
You're gonna kill your priest.
Well, you know why? Because this is all about keeping what you got. How many people, when you get the position of power, you're just going to relinquish it because you know you lived and made bad decisions? I've never seen it. I've never seen any split up amongst Israel work that way. I've never seen calm and peaceable breakups and disconnections. Most High has to sit back here and literally break it from within before anything happens. And what it shows is this is no different. Saul sat back here and lived for many years at the top after the Most High moved on from him. It happens all the time. And the Most High has to sit back and bring something all the way rock bottom before a breakup happens. This is just how things work. But you know what you're going to see is the Most High just picked Saul, the biggest guy of the group, and moved him in. Most High made, I don't want to jump the gun, but he made David earn this. Even though, it talks about how David was man in Most High's heart and how the Most High saw what was in David's heart. He just didn't see what was in David's heart and just give him blessings. He saw what was in his heart and he made him work to get that position. That was another difference in how the Most High dealt with Saul versus how he dealt with David.
Just like our children.
Yep.
It's the same thing with our children. You just give them toys, you give them what they want, make them happy, and sometimes they come out spoiled. But when you sit here and put the work in and make them sacrifice and earn it, every parent knows when they earn it, they're more appreciative.
Yeah.
Especially when you give them cars. It's like that's the same thing with cars, bro. Kids crash cars. They have to go to work. They don't crash them cars no more.
No,
Yep,
they clean it every weekend.
They're cleaning it. They're changing the oil.
God.
If it ain't theirs, they're not changing no. Oh, what? Nah, I'm cool.
Dad,
I'm gonna ride this shit out like the Saudis do. I heard it when you're in Saudi Arabia, they just ride Bentleys out there, the shit just breaks.
And they buy another.
So in the middle of the desert, there's just Bentleys everywhere.
Yeah.
Bentleys and Rolls Royces. It's the truth.
That's
like,
fly.
oil change? There's no oil, no stinking oil. I'm just gonna drive the vehicle. It break down. I get another.
I'm sick. I'm sick.
But that's how people that don't value bread do. Anyway, let's go back, man. Let's keep going back to 1 Samuel, man.
God.
Read verse 4, I think.
Nah, I'm still on verse 4.
Okay, keep going then.
And call Jesse to sacrifice, and I will show thee what thou shalt do. And thou shalt anoint unto me him whom I name unto thee. And Samuel did that which the Lord spake, and came to Bethlehem. And the elders of the town trembled at his coming.
They tremble. They tremble not because he's a mean guy, but because judgment is direct. What it's showing you is judgment is direct, and there's no frills when it comes to judgment.
Or he was an enforcer.
That's the point. Because judgment, there's no wiggle room with judgment.
Yeah.
Either you don't get stung and things are gonna go bad, and you're going to have to deal with the bad that comes from your decisions, or you did good and you get blessed. There's nothing in the middle. That's why they're trembling.
And when you contrast this system of government versus the time period of judges, you can see a big difference in leadership.
Con.
You have an enforcer, that's a strong example. The city's more in order.
Con.
And you have no enforcer, and everybody's left to their own will, their own desires.
And they get to pick and choose what righteousness is, because that's what Judges was.
Con.
Remember Judges, I think it was 17, 18? You just pick whatever God and whatever deity you want to give yourself to, and it was okay.
On a governmental level.
On a governmental level. So, let's continue.
God. And said, comest thou peaceably?
Are you coming here peaceably, or are you going to sit back and give me bad news? They understood there was no swaying Samuel. They just wanted to hear it right off the jump. You coming here to tell us we're about to get cursed out, lightning's coming out the sky out, or you telling us everything's going to be okay? But I do like the contrast of how initially it showed Samuel to be a compassionate person. But you can be compassionate, loving, and be an enforcer of the Most High's word. And that's the type of leader, and that's the type of men we all have to learn how to become. Loving, really caring for your people. But what's the best way I can show our people care? The best way I can show service to my people is to live a life of honor and discipline. And be that living example of consistency and judgment. And at least you might not like me. People might not have liked all the checks Samuel brought to the table, but they had to respect what he stood for. Mm-hmm. And the entire nation, reading from the beginning of Samuel to now, they respected what he stood for. And that's all you can really ask for. They might not like what's being said, but are they going to respect the message and respect the lifestyle?
And the real issue is just be consistent.
That's the point.
So, for me, like, if you're going to ride me, bro, or you're going to push me, bro, better be consistent.
Yeah.
Don't be sitting here up and down and off and on, and one day you want to do it, and the next day you don't want to do it, and I got to keep adjusting to where you're at. That's hell, right?
That is hell.
You keep adjusting. Okay, it's time to be serious about the Bible.
Yeah.
Oh, no,
Yeah.
Bible's not that serious anymore.
Right.
Like, what are we doing here? When you're under a leadership or you're under a governor, you just want your governors to be consistent. So for us as men in our households, we got to practice more consistency. That way, people that have a hard time following can learn how to adapt.
Yep.
Because it's very unfair to the students.
Because what you have to understand is they're following your motor.
God.
They're following your desired choice of intensity.
God.
So your motor and your engine and your pace has to be consistent, and you make it easier for people to adapt and follow the pace that you set.
God.
But anyway, let's keep going.
Mm-hmm.
Now, verse 5. And he said, peaceably.
He said, I come in peace, man. Read on.
I am come to sacrifice unto the Lord. Sanctify yourselves and come with me to the sacrifice.
Mm-hmm.
And he sanctified Jesse and his sons and called them to the sacrifice.
So he sat back here. He told Jesse and his family or his sons to come to this sacrifice.
That was dangerous.
This is, but you know what? It's dangerous, but Samuel knew what his job was.
Come.
But read on.
6. And it came to pass when they were come that he looked on Eliab.
Eliab was the firstborn of Jesse. Read on.
And said, surely the Lord's anointed is before him.
You know why? Because Samuel sat back here and got caught back in the same trick bag as most Israel when they see young, appearing strong, confident, got height, he's tall. Listen, he's tall, he's confident, good looking dude, and you think that is the image and the picture of leadership.
You want to follow it because they look strong. People want to follow the appearance of strength.
Yes.
That's just human nature.
Exactly. People want to follow the appearance of strength.
Switch readers.
Okay, so yeah, okay, we'll have Gerard, you want to do it? Yeah.
Come.
We're here early. So we are in 1 Samuel 16. No, we're in 6 now, right? Yeah, we're in 6.
Okay.
No, yeah, we're in 6. So let's get you slid in.
Okay, it says hastily.
Yeah. You know what?
Jeriah.
Okay.
Shabbat.
Amad Shabbat.
Jeriah.
Hold on. Okay. Jeriah. Shaul Shabbatah. Ban. Yahawada. Ban. Yashal. We do it. Jeriah. Shaul Shabbatah. Ban Yahawada. Ban Yashal. Amad. What we just said is Jeriah, tribe of Judah, son of Israel. So we're going to do on 1 Samuel 16 and verse 6.
1 Samuel chapter 16 and verse 6. And it came to pass, when they were come, that he looked on Eliab.
Yeah, Eliab. Mhm.
Eliab, slack it.
You good?
And said, surely the Lord's anointed is before him. But the Lord said unto Samuel, look not on his countenance, or on the height of his stature.
So what did Most High say?
Look not on his height, nor the countenance, or the Slack. Look not on his height, or on the height.
You're good. Take your time.
Slow it down.
You're doing good.
Look not on his countenance, or on the height of his stature.
So when the Most High wants to deal with people, we cannot judge people off strictly appearance. That's the Most High's judgment. Read on.
Because I have refused him, for the Lord seeth not as man seeth.
What's the Most High saying?
Because I have refused him, for the Lord seeth not as man seeth.
The Most High does not look at us the way he doesn't have the same type of judgment we have.
Parameters of what a good man is.
Oh, we look at the external. We look at color, height, skin tone, curls, straight hair.
Curls,
curls, straight hair.
Oh, she's gonna be righteous.
She's righteous.
She's gonna be
She got
righteous.
them curls, man.
She's gonna be righteous.
That's
I can tell.
hilarious.
But we're not. The Most High sees the intention. He sees beyond the physical person. He reads the intention of the heart, and that's something you can't see from the outside.
There's no doubt about it. And the Most High is, we don't jump into the Josephus now to kind of blend in with the point, but the Most High doesn't judge us or look at us the same way we look at each other. And this is even how you be careful. Okay, yeah.
Please.
Yeah. That was real close, man.
Was gonna knock the camera down.
Exactly. All right. But hold this. We're gonna go to Antiquities of the Jews, chapter 6. I'm sorry, book 6, chapter 8, paragraph 1 down. We're gonna probably run it. Yeah, we're gonna do the entire one paragraph, first paragraph. So, Karai, let's do it. Huh? Yeah. We're gonna do this. We're just gonna do the flesh and the spirit, man.
Okay.
So
That's all good.
Karaya, Shamshawan, Banashar, Banyashal.
Karaya, Shamshawan, Banashar, Banyashal. I must, bro. Yahweh Hashem Yahshua.
Yahweh Hashem Yahshua Brakatham.
All right. So you hold it, and we're just gonna swap, okay?
All right.
Yeah. I'll let you know. You're gonna take a seat for a little bit because we're gonna go on through this.
All right.
All right. I'm not gonna do it. I thought I was gonna do it.
I was gonna do it.
I ain't gonna do it that way. No, I ain't gonna do it that way. We're done.
Antiquity of the Jews, Book 6, Chapter 8, Paragraph 1. Now Saul, being sensible of the miserable condition he had brought into himself into,
Wow.
and that he had made the Most High to be his enemy.
Listen, Saul understood that he had created that rift between himself and the Heavenly Father, but did that stop him from sitting back here and standing on the throne? No. He wanted them grapes still out. He wanted them grapes. He wanted all the leisures of leadership out. I know that. He was living all right. Read on.
He went up to his royal palace in Gibeah,
It's hard to give all that up, Paul.
I know.
which name denotes a hill. And after that day, he came no more into the presence of the prophet.
Yep.
And when Samuel mourned for him, the Most High bid him leave off his concern for him.
Because this is a scary point.
Yeah.
What this is saying is he'll leave a man to his own what?
Devices.
That's a scary.
And he stops caring for you. Huh?
Yeah.
Whatever you do, you do. But keep going.
You're the king. You want to make the decisions. Okay, thy own wickedness shall do what? Correctly. Now we're getting that territory when nobody can talk to you, and nobody can tell you what to do. Nobody can give you instruction. People can have a conversation, or everybody knows as soon as they talk to you, it's going to be a back and forth conversation till 3, 4 in the morning. Sometimes people become like, you know what? I'm gonna let you do your thing so you can see it on your own.
Yep.
But that's the scariest part, because now that child, that man, that sister, or that household, they gotta sit here and figure out on their own. Because a lot of times people blame leadership, or they blame counselors for mistakes. Then cool, do it on your own and see what happens. That's what the Most High has got. That's the position the Most High has set Saul right now.
Yeah.
Then you're on your own. I'm not gonna just sting you with some lightning off the throne. Then you make your own choices, make your own decisions. Let's see how long this lasts with your own wisdom. And
while I'm already replacing you with somebody else, and I'm developing him for your spot.
Without the Most High's wisdom, how long can we last? How long can we all last without the Most High's wisdom
and protection
and correction?
Yeah.
Because that's something that's necessary too. You know, when you don't have correction, that means you don't have anybody to set you back right. Put you
that's
back on the right path.
That's a scary place, bro. Let's keep going.
Line 157. And when Samuel mourned for him, the Most High bid him leave off his concern for him, and to take the holy oil, and go to Bethlehem, to Jesse, the son of Obed, and to anoint such of his sons as he should show him for the future king. But Samuel said, he was afraid lest Saul, when he came to know of it, should kill him, either by some private method or even openly. But upon the Most High suggested him a safe way of going thither, he came to the forementioned city. And when they all saluted him and asked what was the occasion of his coming, he told them he came to sacrifice to the Most High. When, therefore, he had gotten the sacrifice ready, he called Jesse and his sons to partake of those sacrifices. And when he saw his eldest son to be a tall and handsome man,
there you go,
he guessed by his comeliness that he was the person who was to be their future king.
So he was handsome, he was good looking, he was put together, and you just think this guy is the guy because he looks the part. Read on.
But he was mistaken in judging.
He was mistaken.
In judging about the Most High's providence. For when Samuel inquired of the Most High whether he should anoint this youth, whom he so admired and esteemed worthy of the kingdom, the Most High said, men do not see as the Most High seeth.
Exactly. So you know it's crazy. You never know what potential is inside of you if you unlock it. You don't know how dynamic each and every one of you guys can be. This is why the Most High says He gives to all men what? Liberally. So really, the Most High sees your willingness and your capacity to get pushed. What's inside of you that I can use to get my word out? How much can you tolerate? Because if you look at, we all know just talking about David, right? But what made David so potent? What made him to where the Most High said, I'm going to anoint him now? What did he do? The Most High knew something that nobody else could have at that particular time have known. He was anointed king, but look at the things he went through in order to prove to the Most High that he was the right choice. There were so many things he had to endure, and we're going to sit back and as these chapters continue to increase, we're going to be able to sit back and see specifically why the Most High chose him. But there were spiritual aspects to him that is what made him love David more than these other people.
So are you saying that he had to pass certain tests?
He had to pass certain tests, but the Most High knew he had the capability to do so. Before he did it.
This was behind the scenes, man.
He was behind the scenes. And listen, the crazy thing is, if this was about just playing favorites with David, because a lot of times people think the one that's anointed, the one that was chosen, it just has it easy. And or in the midst of us being in our heads and down and low, we want to sit back. Somebody else's plight is easier than somebody else's plight.
That's natural.
And that's natural. And there was a natural envy for David that Saul had. But if you look at it in David's shoes, look at what he had to go through to even get a throne that was promised to him now. Can you imagine? Think about this. We're going to go into, and I don't want to go into it too deep. He was anointed to be the king right now, right? But what was his first job that he was tasked to do after he was anointed king? You're going to be the flute man for the king.
Yep.
You're supposed to sit back here, or the heart man. You're going to be the heart man for the king. I thought I was supposed to be the king.
You know what that shows, though? A lot of people don't like to have to, okay, I'm supposed to be a leader, but now I have to be a servant. I thought that's like a switcheroo.
That's the
You
point.
told me
that is a mind, you know what?
Yeah, like this is false advertisement.
Yeah.
You said I'm gonna be the
king. I'm the anointed of the Heavenly Father.
I'm the gesture. I'm the entertainer guy.
I'm the music guy.
I'm the music. I'm playing guitars over here.
Yeah.
What are you playing with my mind? That's the question that we would ask if I had an expectation.
Or you'll sit back and say the Most High is not fair.
Well, like you said, if you had an expectation of what a king's supposed to be like, then you would say, I need to be anointed with myrrh and frankincense.
Yeah.
I need to be in purple and scarlet robes. I need to have, maidens and the military. I'm supposed to have people to my disposal.
And I'm going to start plotting on how I can get to the top.
Yeah.
How can I sit? Listen, if I'm already supposed to be here,
I'm gonna force the
then
course.
how can I sit back here and push my way into the position?
There's no patience involved.
But it's no patience. But this type of mindset is what, when it says, let's keep reading.
You know what? All the Most High said that we're all supposed to be a nation of kings and priests.
Yeah.
So we're all supposed to be in that position of being in charge eventually, or operating at a higher capacity. But you have to wait your turn. And that's one thing about David that we're bringing out is David was in a position where he was willing to be at the bottom until the time came to be anointed to be on top.
Which is very hard.
Yes, but you were anointed by the guy. Samuel said, "You're the man." Lawfully. That's even harder. I get waiting your turn, but the Most High says it's your turn now. But then go serve.
Yeah.
But this is where he says the Most High doesn't judge a person by the outward. He judges by the inward. And what that means is the mind, the heart, the outlook, the ability to tolerate, the amount of patience that's inside of you. Think about, as we go through it, I want us to bring out and talk about all the elements in the character that you have to endure what David went through.
And can I also say this too? The Most High judges our affect. And you know when somebody's like not happy to be around us. I'm not happy to be here. I'm going here. I'm coming to a function. Saul's in power. I'm seeing Saul eat all this grapes, eat this bomb land. And he's on the throne, having a good time. Beautiful. You got his ribs with him, his boys. Hey, what's Agag?
Yeah.
Eating my.
Oh, he's dead now.
Oh, he's dead. Okay,
Agag's huge, man.
Okay, that guy is dead. But he's enjoying. You're watching another person enjoy their life, and you know in your mind, I'm supposed to be here, and you're sitting here. You gotta smile and be the temple out.
Kinda.
And you can't project that you're.
And your only purpose is.
Yeah. Listen. It's almost like the Most High is playing with you.
This is the point I'm trying to explain to you. How people think it was just some easy situation for David. It wasn't. And if he had an ounce of ego and pride, he couldn't have survived.
Would have flipped out.
But this is why the Most High says he judges a person by the inwards of a man, by his heart. David wasn't some chump or some pushover.
No.
He had a great superior outlook than most people did.
Are you saying that's like the moral of the story in Adam and Eve?
No.
Pretty much how they messed up, but they decided to hide instead of actually making the right decision.
You wouldn't have known. You wouldn't have known where their mind was at until they made the mistake.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? You wouldn't have known, until after they, disregarded the Most High's commandments, what their intention was.
Mm-hmm.
Or how pure their intention is. And that's something that, if I could add this real quick, Wisdom of Solomon chapter 8 verse 7 real quick. Read that.
Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 8 and verse 7. And if a man love righteousness,
So you wouldn't have known if Adam and Eve loved righteousness. It had to be revealed. They had to be put in a position to where if they actually love being obedient, if they love being righteous.
Because listen, to love righteousness means that you choose righteousness even when it's not convenient for you to choose righteousness. People think that your love is predicated on what you hold on to, even if you have the power to do something different. Get what I mean on that?
Yes, sir.
If we're abounding in love, abounding in patience, abounding in mercy, you have to get pushed to the brink of going opposite of what you know you're supposed to do. But then you still choose the right thing. That proves that you love righteousness.
That's like a woman in loyalty. She may have a better opportunity. She might have somebody more offer her more.
Mm-hmm.
And then her man she currently has. This guy offers me more. He has more benefits. He's more stable. He has a better situation. He gonna treat me nicer. He's not gonna check me. I can do whatever I want to do with this guy. I have freedom and liberty with this guy. Mm-hmm. You have the option. But loyalty is, what? The Most High gave me this husband. I want to stick with this husband because the Most High gave it to me. I'm gonna be loyal to the Most High, and I'm still gonna serve my husband. That's loyalty. That's a labor. That's a virtue.
When you choose the right thing, even though you have the option not to do that. And once again, the Most High knew what was in David's heart before David went through. Well, I'm gonna say that. I can't even say that because there's elements of how David carried himself before he was anointed that let the Most High knew he could sit back and handle the next set of battles. Because you don't get nothing just because you wake up and you're the chosen one, the golden child. It don't work like that. You have to earn that. And whatever he did as a shepherd and how he carried himself in that position showed the Most High that he was ready for more. Doesn't the scripture say he that is faithful over a few things shall be ruler over many? We still have to show the capacity in our youth that we can respect the job and the responsibility that's in front of us before we get more.
And this is where the scripture says, whatever thou find thy hand so doing, do with all thy might. You know what I'm saying? Because sometimes, if David would have been slacking when nobody was watching, or even as a youth, because remember, he was a shepherd in his youth. But look at his level of responsibility and accountability that in the love that he had for the flock that he was caring for. He was already proven to the Most High on miniature levels, on smaller levels, that he was ready for greater positions.
And that's how the Most High could determine what was in his heart at an early age. But still, we all have the capacity to do great things based upon the choices that we make.
And do I put my responsibility before my life?
That's the point.
Because he put his sheep, which is his responsibility, his father gave him, he put his job in front of his life.
On countless occasions.
That's an admirable, that's what you really want if you want a person to lead on a higher level.
Exactly.
Do you put the responsibility that the Most High gives you before your personal life?
Yeah.
Before your well-being? Are you willing to suffer for your responsibility? That matters, bro.
Let's keep going because I don't want, because if the further we explain it, we're gonna jump before all the information about David comes out. So let's keep going. Men do not see as the Most High sees in the Josephus.
Antiquity of the Jews, Book 6, Chapter 8, line 160. Thou indeed hast respect to the fine appearance of this youth, and thence esteemest him worthy of the kingdom. While I propose the kingdom as a reward, not of the beauty of bodies, but of the virtue of souls.
God.
And I inquire after one that is perfectly comely in that respect.
He wants a person beautiful in their virtues. And their virtues is really based upon being beautiful in your decision making. Are we beautiful in our desire to choose the right path?
Solomon chapter 8 that you was on. I'm sorry.
Okay, it cut back on. It cut back on. All right, it was off for a second.
Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 8 and verse 7. And if a man love righteousness...
See, and just because you can be attractive on the outside, that doesn't mean you love righteousness. Just because you can look a certain way, you can be physically attractive, male or female, in a male or female fashion. That doesn't mean you love righteousness. Your physical beauty has nothing to do with righteousness. There's a totally separate thing involved with righteousness. What makes a person righteous, or how do you know they have these qualities, is what? Read on.
Her labors and virtues, for she teacheth temperance and prudence.
What's one thing that the Most High finds attractive? Instead of height, or physique, or waist size, pant size, length, skin, fair-skinned, or whatever. What's one of the things that the Most High finds attractive?
Labors and virtues.
What are those labors and virtues? Read on.
For she teacheth temperance and prudence.
What's one of the things that's attractive to the Most High? Temperance.
And prudence.
What is temperance? When you're put in a position where you have to be patient or you have to be calm, when somebody aggravates you, somebody agitates you, are you going to be impulsive? Are you going to go to your appetites? Are you going to lean to your appetites? Are you going to lean to your thirst? Or are you going to give in to the things you want? Or are you going to give in to anger when somebody pisses you off? Are you going to be quick to get mad? Or do you have the ability to stay temperate? Temperate means to be calm under pressure. That means I know how to be calm when things around me are not calm. That's one element that the Most High finds attractive. What else is attractive to the Most High? Read on.
And prudence.
Prudence is somebody who's sagacious. Somebody who makes the right decision at the right time. They don't go off feelings. They don't go off emotions. They don't go off, a carnal, persuasive mentality. They go off wisdom. They go off counsel. What should I do? Let me get some counsel on this situation before I act. Let me get some counsel before I behave in this way. Before I let my emotions get the best of me, let me counsel. Let me get the right decision. What is the right thing to do in this at this situation at this time? Go ahead. You want to bring something up?
I want to bring up. Can I bring this one part up into Josephus? Because it kind of ties in with what you all were saying about your outlook and your disposition, so to speak. Let's go to Josephus, Antiquities of the Jews, Book 1, Chapter 13, Paragraph 1. Because what you're going to see is what the Most High saw in David's heart was very similar to what Abraham had and Isaac had. And you're going to start seeing a common theme in the mentality of people who are close to the Heavenly Father. So I need you to run through this real quick. Give me paragraph 1.
Antiquity of the Jews, Book 1, chapter 13, paragraph 1. Now Abraham greatly loved Isaac as being his only begotten, and given to him at that borders of old age, by the favor of the Most High.
So listen, picture the situation. He did all this work for the Most High and he front-loaded it. His entire life, he put the Most High first. Now he's at an old age where he knows he ain't going to be able to have a lot more kids left and enjoy it. So now he's got Isaac, the promised son, that he has a great relationship with. And he knows he's a great child too. Read on.
The child also endeared himself to his parents still more.
So now he wasn't just some regular badass kid. He was a great kid that loved the Most High. Read on.
By the exercise of every virtue and adhering to his duty to his parents.
So he did everything his parents asked him. He was on point. He was a good son. Read on. Y'all should come up here.
And being zealous in the worship of the Heavenly Father.
So he was zealous in serving the Most High, Isaac was. Read on.
Abraham also placed his own happiness in this prospect, that when he should die, he should leave this, his son, in a safe and secure condition.
So in Abraham's mind, I busted my tail, I put the Most High first, and I can sit back when I die. I know I have a son that would defend me and defend the principles that the Most High has for me from the next generation. And that's a good thing to know. That you just don't work and sacrifice for nothing. The next one behind you is going to do the same thing you did. Read on.
Which accordingly he obtained by the will of the Most High, who, being desirous to make an experiment of Abraham's religious disposition towards himself.
This is how the Most High deals with us. This is how he can determine where your heart is. Most High sat back here and did an experiment on Abraham's religious or spiritual disposition towards him. This is how the Most High deals with all of us. Everything is, he wants to see how will you continue to look at him in a pure light, despite things not going the way you planned should go. This is how the Most High can measure the heart. This is how he literally measures the heart. Your disposition. Can you maintain a great pure outlook towards him regardless of the ebbs and flows in your life? Regardless of the losses and the gains and the highs and the lows. How is your disposition steady? This is what David had. This is what Abraham had. This is what Isaac had. He had a consistent, strong, positive disposition, which means what? What is a disposition?
It's a state of mind.
It's a state of mind, and it was a positive state of mind in this regards. So continue.
Appeared to him and enumerated all the blessings he had bestowed on him. Line 224. How he had made him superior to his enemies, and that his son Isaac, who was the principal part of his present happiness, was derived from him. And he said that he required this son of his as a sacrifice and holy oblation.
What is also showing you is this. Abraham, leading up to this point, had already shown the Most High countless times and had constantly proven to the Most High his level of religious disposition. What was the first thing that Abraham did to show the Most High that his disposition was pro him? Y'all remember? What was the first thing Abraham did to show his disposition?
He was it Slakia if I'm wrong. Was it his I believe it was his son first, right?
No, that was the last. That was one of the later ones. This one right here is talking about one of the last.
Didn't he have to leave his hometown?
Well, no, before he left it, he was forced to leave his hometown because he went at all those Chaldean leaders and told them that multiple God theory was off.
And that was the universal accepted.
That was, everybody was pushing that pro-Nimrod angle except for Abraham. And he was risking his life standing up for that, because they said he was special, and he was sagacious, and he was enduring, and his charisma was changing the minds and hearts of the established elite teacher, to the point where he was a marked man in Babylon. And he had to leave Babylon anyway. But that was the first time, at least on paper, in records, that he showed that his disposition to the Most High was above any personal interest that he might have had in the situation. Because he was from earth. And he sat back here and was going at all these Chaldean teachers and checking them, because their religious belief system was way off. So we're sitting back here, and he kept showing the Most High constantly. Can you imagine having your rib taken by two separate kings? And you just got to be patient and have a pure outlook.
And don't be afraid. The Most High controls everything. So you control everything. You let this happen.
Yeah, that's my point. And it wasn't like it was 2 days. There was one time in Egypt where there was no children being had in the kingdom. Then they realized, oh man, we're getting cursed. How long of a stretch of a time has to go before you realize ain't no babies being had in the kingdom? Just think about that. Is that a couple days? Is that a couple weeks?
No.
That means months have got to go on.
It's been a minute since we had a baby shower.
It has to be months. I can't put a time on it.
Right.
Maybe 4 or 5 months.
You know how fruitful Israel is.
Look, this was Egypt though. This was Egypt. And this is like, okay, you got my woman is with this sleazy Egyptian king, and they're getting her prepped for God knows what it is. And I just got to sit back and be positive and send prayers up, and be at peace. And this happened twice. It happened to him then and with Abimelech, if I'm not mistaken. And his disposition didn't change. And this is what constituted a great man in Christ. This is what constitutes great sisters in Christ. Whatever you're going through is your spiritual disposition and outlook towards the Most High still the same. Because if your disposition is pure, you can continue to make the right decisions.
And you know, when those two men killed Ishbosheth and cut off his head in his sleep, and they brought it to David thinking that they were going to get rewarded for that. Yep. By that time, David was already an old man. But one thing that David said to those two men that killed Ishbosheth and cut off his head, he said, "Do you think because I'm an old man that my disposition has changed?" He said, thinking that I would have taken pleasure in you killing a righteous man. He said, go bring me the sword and put these two men to death right here, right now. So not even in your old age is your state of mind supposed to change.
Wow.
Not even when you get older. You're supposed to keep the same integrity as you had in your youth as you do have in your old age.
And what it shows you is, if you show great spiritual disposition in your youth, he's going to continue to put you in situations to challenge that same spiritual integrity you had in your youth. That's how you earn
his trust.
His trust and a great standing in the Heavenly Father's eyes. Listen, you sit back and read about Abraham, Isaac, Jacob, you get five to seven opportunities to show where your real disposition towards the Most High is. You don't get these constant opportunities. Like Saul. Saul had 2 or 3 times to show the Most High where his disposition was. When his back was against the wall, and he was losing men, and he was down to 600 men, Saul had a chance to show the Most High that his disposition was faithful to him. What did he do? He said, "No, I'm not going to listen to the Most High. I'm a burn this sacrifice myself,
get these men back,
so I can get these men back." He showed the Most High there where his spiritual disposition was at. Then he did it again with Agag. You don't get a bunch of chances to show the Most High where your spiritual disposition is at. You get a handful, and you got to make those handful of opportunities and choices count if you want to continue to grow with the Heavenly Father. If you want to sit back here and push your spiritual self to the highest limits you can push it, then you got to take advantage of those opportunities to show the Most High, I'm going to cleave to Him even when it's not convenient, because that's how I show Him my spiritual fortitude. Do I choose that I cleave to righteousness when cleaving to righteousness isn't popular, it isn't comfortable, it isn't convenient? Or do I cleave to righteousness only when it suits me?
Definition of disposition: prevailing tendency, or inclination. It says the tendency of something to act in a certain manner under given circumstances. Do my manners change towards my people? When I'm under pressure, do my manners change? When I'm under adversity, do my actions change? Does my conduct change? Is David's conduct changing because he's not getting the crown? I'm not gonna study no more. I'm not gonna read no more. I'm not gonna smile no more. I'm watching everybody have my crown. Now I got it.
Huh? Right.
Saul. Okay, I'm losing men. I gotta change my. I'm very changeable. You know what? I'm gonna go ahead and deviate, break the law, and I'm gonna do the sacrifice myself versus wait for the priest.
You know what makes people change too is money.
Yeah.
Well, you know,
convenient.
If I'm getting paid for this,
yeah.
Because if I'm getting paid for this, I'm willing to. I'll put up with it a little bit longer.
Yeah.
But if I'm not getting paid for this,
it's benefit.
I'm not getting no benefits out of this. I don't see the point in putting myself in danger.
And that's the point, because the Most High is truly trying to see how pure is our spiritual intentions. Because if the intentions are pure, it doesn't matter what you lose. The only thing that matters is that you maintain your spiritual integrity. Let me finish that paragraph real quick in paragraph 1. Did we finish it yet?
We on line 224.
Okay, read on.
How he had made him superior to his enemies, and that his son Isaac, who was the principal part of his present happiness, was derived from him. And he said that he required this son of his as a sacrifice and holy oblation.
After all this investment Abraham gives to the Most High, Moses says, I want him to die. I want him now. I want him back. And then we're going to sit back here and see how Abraham responds. Read on.
Accordingly, he commanded him to carry him to the mountain Moriah, and to build an altar, and offer him for a burnt offering upon it, for that this would be best manifest his religious disposition.
What he does with this order will show and provide the best opportunity to see where Abraham's disposition and outlook and tendency towards the Most High is. Are you going to sit back here and disobey orders? Are you going to sit back here and bargain and petition? Are you going to sit back here and try to make a deal with the Most High? Or are you going to follow orders and still be at peace? Because a lot of what happens to disposition is based upon how happy are you when you do the job that is going to be inconvenient to your life. Can you do His will and be at peace with the results?
Are you still happy?
Can you choose righteousness and still be at peace? Or do you choose righteousness and you're angry?
Regret.
And you're bitter and you're full of regret. Because a lot of us function like that. We might do what we're told, but do it angrily. And tell yourself secretly that it's not fair that I made the spiritual choice. This is the mindset, and this is where the Most High is trying to gauge the heart of a man. This is the very definition of gauging the heart of a person. Can you do my will even though you're going to lose out the deal initially?
Is this the core of how the Most High deals with Israel in general?
Yes. This is how the Most High deals with us in general.
This is like the number one question He wants to know about us. This is why
yes. This is what Jake niggas in rap songs say about their women. If I get sentenced to a quarter century, are you going to sit back here and still ride with me?
Yep.
No.
Hell no. Because you did that crap on your own.
or the reverse of what Jake Lodi is I got 2 strikes. You take this drug deal. You take the crime. You take the fall. Your sentence will be like, oh, she's right to die. She took 10 years from me, son. No, that's not a good answer either. But can we sit back here and lose for the Most High and be okay with the fact that my decision benefited the Most High and not myself?
Okay.
That's how He determines. When the Most High said that David was a man after His own heart, this is how He saw in him. This is what He saw in him. that religious disposition that also Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob had. Listen, there's a reason why the Most High called Abraham his what? His friend.
His friend. Mm-hmm.
Abraham was his friend because he maintained that same spiritual positive disposition towards the Most High wherever the Most High took him.
Regardless.
That's what earned that title to Abraham. This is what earns that title if we want to be connected to the Most High and favored in his eyes. Like what's the scripture said in Revelations, where the ones that make the kingdom follow the Lamb whithersoever he goeth. Can I follow him and not pout? Because following him is like, I'm following the Lamb. The Lamb told me to go. I'm going to go over here because the Lamb told me to.
This sucks.
This sucks following the Lamb. Then don't follow the Lamb then. Can I sit back here and be at peace with following the Most High in Christ? How is my disposition while I'm following? Anyway, read on. Read that part. For that this would best manifest. Read that.
Okay. And to build an altar.
No, I want what I said. For that this would best.
Okay. That this would best manifest his religious disposition towards him.
Come.
If he preferred what was pleasing to the Most High before the preservation of his own son.
This, in a microcosm, is what he wants to see us do. Not necessarily sacrifice our child for the Most High, but can we sacrifice our pleasure and what we value and what we care about for what the Most High cares about more? That's the constant choice we're going to be confronted with. What matters more to you? Let that go and go back to the Josephus in book 6, chapter 8, and finish this part off. Paragraph 1.
Well, it was like the later end of 160.
Okay.
Yeah. It says, I mean one who is beautiful in piety and righteousness and fortitude and obedience.
And that piety means reverence or fear to the Most High.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what Ward just brought out right here in the Josephus at the end. Was he going to be about his preservation of his, or was he going to do what's pleasing to the Most High, or what sounded right in the pleasing of his own, in the sparing of his own son?
Yep.
So how much fear or reverence do you have towards the Most High when you're put in a position to choose between the Most High or the people you love? And that's what piety is all about.
Yep, it's that fear, it's that necessary fear and motivation to make those tough decisions and calls. You have to have a strong fear of the Most High to even have the fortitude to make the strong decision, to make the spiritual decision. Read on.
For in them consists the comeliness of the soul.
How you use the scriptures, how you study, how you use to study to maintain your fear and respect for the Most High is what you use to establish your fortitude. What is fortitude? It's something that makes you unmovable.
Right.
It's something
It's a virtue.
It's a virtue. And your fortitude is based upon, it doesn't matter how much my flesh is pulling on me. It doesn't matter how I'm feeling. I'm going to choose this the right way. That's fortitude. But your fortitude is based upon your piety. And your piety is your fear and reverence towards the Most High. How is your fear and reverence nurtured? Studying, praying, reading, keeping yourself around strong people. Spiritually, you use all those tools in your environment to nurture that fortitude. So that when the time comes when your flesh wants to pull you away to quit or get weak, now you have enough in the tank to not give in to your feelings. And how you navigate your decisions, how do you navigate how your mind pulls on you and how your emotions pull on you, determines what? It determines your comeliness of spirit. It determines how beautiful your soul is. Your soul is beautiful based upon how spiritually mature you are. Yes, sir?
Now, the word piety in Latin is pietas, which is dutifulness. So,
Yes.
I'm not going to stop my duties based on what I'm dealing with. My duty for the Lord, my duty for my family, my duty for my relationship with the Father does not deviate based on these circumstances.
But you know, how much studying does a person need to invest in for his or her piety to sustain itself? How much do you have to read to maintain fear? Because what is fear? Fear is that consciousness that the Most High is looking at you in everything you do. When you read in Ecclesiastes where it says the Most High's eyes are 10,000 times brighter than the sun. We know those are words and they're fancy words, but how much reading and commitment does a person have to commit themselves to know that, to keep your consciousness on that? Because it's one thing from reading a verse, and it's another thing, how much reading do you need to when you walk outside in these doors? Outside these doors, that feeling is constantly ever on your mind.
Can I say this?
I hope y'all understand what I'm saying. Y'all understand what I'm saying?
Go on.
It's the difference between talking it and living it. And the difference between talking it and living it determines how beautiful the Most High looks at your spirit. And in life, Most High says, the scripture says, know what's evil for thy spirit and give not unto it, right? But if you sit back and switch that concept up, you can also say, know what you need to get strong and feed that in your spirit, right? How much preparation do you need to put on a daily, nightly basis to keep a strong mind? How much talking do you have to talk about your issues to gain the confidence and the strength to stay potent? And this is the riddle or the equation each and every one of us have to figure out if you want to grow or maintain that beautiful spirit the Most High is looking for. I'm sorry.
I want to post one scripture right here. Romans 14 verse 5. The point is the second part of the scripture.
Romans chapter 14 and verse 5. One man esteemeth one day above another.
Listen, some people say one day is different than another. Okay, read.
Another esteemeth every day alike.
Another man like, listen, every day is the same challenge. Another man, every day is one challenge. One day is the greatest challenge in the world, and some days, all days are just the same. It's just the same test. Let's see how the Most High wants us to conduct our spirit. Read.
Let every man be fully persuaded.
Let every man what?
Be fully persuaded.
Let every man or woman be fully persuaded or what? Convinced in what?
In his own mind.
You have to convince yourself, man. I can't be waiting for someone to convince me to believe. You have to convince yourself that what you're reading is true. It's your job to convince yourself the Most High is real. It's your duty to convince yourself to be on point. It's your job to actively motivate yourself and push yourself. How much investment do you put into your belief? How much investment do you put into your confidence in the Father? How much investment do you put into you being dutiful and I'm not going to change no matter what? I've put too much in to change. I've put too much work in to quit. I've worked too hard to go back to my flesh. I've put too much work to deviate from my marriage. I've put too much investment in to sit here and quit on the body. That's what we're talking about. How much do you put the work in to convince your mind? Because we're always fighting that double mind. The weakness in the mind and the spiritual mind. The more work you put into the spiritual mind, you're going to be that spiritual person.
Okay.
The less you feed the spiritual mind, the less you feed your spirit, you're going to be more of the what? Carnal person. You are only a product of what you feed. And your war always brings out that Gadite saying.
What can I say?
I think you're about to sell. There's a Gadite saying that says,
oh, the bear
there's two wolves.
No, it's bear. It's a bear.
Oh, it's two bears?
Well, no, it's...
I thought it was wolves. It's two
I used the bear analogy,
I read the wolves. You can wait.
I read bear.
Okay.
Well, I read bear.
Okay, well, how's it go?
I'm a native, so I can talk that, all right?
Yeah,
I'm not knocking Gadaroo. But keep going.
Yeah, no, but he always says that it's a Gadite saying, but it's the truth. It says, There's 2 bears, right?
Yeah, there's an evil
I think
bear.
it is wolves.
I said bear. I listen. If you're
look it up.
pointing mine,
It was a meme.
it's the bear.
It was a meme that somebody put on the internet. Something about, you know, whichever one you feed.
Yeah.
There's an evil bear wolf. There's a righteous bear wolf. Right? He's eating honey, he's killing animals, he's got blood on his face side. There's an evil bear wolf, there's a righteous bear wolf, right? And which one's gonna win?
Yeah.
The one you feed. That's what they said in the story. There's a war. So who I am today is who I fed last week. Who you are right now?
Last night.
Is who you fed 6 months. Well, yeah, last night, really.
Shoot.
Last night. But the work you put in today is who you're gonna be tomorrow. If you stop putting that work in today, you're gonna be that guy who says every day is different.
And you're not gonna be beautiful in the Most High's house. Listen, if I want to gain a closer relationship with the Most High, this is how you do it. What you gonna say, Tawa?
I'm sorry, I had a scripture, if it's all right.
Yeah.
Yeah, go ahead.
Bear wolf.
Proverbs 20:27.
Yeah.
It says, the spirit of a man is the candle of the Most High,
Wow.
searching all the inward parts of the belly. And that's why you're feeding it. You're making that candle brighter, and that's to fight off that negative that's inside of you.
There's no doubt about it. And you know what? You have to keep feeding that light to make it more potent, to sustain itself for long periods of time. It's the truth.
Read that point again? That's a good point. I don't think the camera heard it.
Oh, Proverbs chapter 20 and verse 27. The spirit of man is the candle of the Most High, searching all the inward parts of the belly.
And how'd you break it down?
I said it was about feeding that spirit. That's that candle. You make it brighter. That allows you to see that negative that's inside of you, that inward, that carnal, the flesh.
So if I feed my spiritual fire, then I'll be that product.
Right. It's even like Harry Potter, whatever that thing that they called when the negative was coming, it was a big bright light and all the negative went away.
Oh yeah, that Patronum stuff.
Yeah, Patronum stuff.
And I'm watching the Potter.
Yeah,
I know. Shit
I don't use the momentum.
I responded too quickly. What does that say about me?
Watch it.
Oh yeah, that was
He's a watcher.
That was the Patronum response there. What are we saying? I'm like, wait a minute. I should have been a little more quiet. I should have acted like I didn't know what he was saying.
What are
you talking about? We're Israelites, brother. We don't watch all that stuff,
There's wisdom.
We're gonna do it with force and power,
To emphasize that light. The more you feed your spirit when you need it.
But once again, that light is the piety. Do I nurture a greater fear?
You know, you got to ask yourself those questions when you're in that position where you can either go please the spirit or you can please your flesh. And that's when you have to make that decision. I can do what's pleasing to my flesh, but I have to ask myself, is this going to mess up my relationship with the Father? And if this is going to deter or stain my reputation or ruin my relationship with the Father, then let me not make that decision.
Yeah.
And then that's the root of piety is, I'm going to stay obedient to the Most High, even if I have to lose on a physical level. Even if I got to deny my flesh or deny my comfort or deny my benefits. It's the Most High over everything.
But see, what's not emphasized enough is when you deny your flesh. What happens when you deny your flesh? It really doesn't feel good.
Sometimes by dying, you choose to.
Well, that's the point. You have to die. Something has to die for the spirit to grow. The flesh has to die. And can I operate at peace with loss? Can I operate at peace with not having these physical comforts that I'm used to? Can doing the Most High's work? Because I see a lot of Israelites with glum faces, unhappy faces. But the reality is, it looks like serving the Most High doesn't work. But the reality is, it does work. But you just have to accept that you're not going to get what you want out the deal in the flesh. And can I accept that trade-off? What you gonna say, Tawa?
Now, I was gonna say when the scripture talks about putting a candle in a bushel.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? That's that spirit. Yeah, you're supposed to show those qualities, that fruits of the spirit, and who you are, and your piety, and your belief in the Most High. That's what people are supposed to see, and that's how you grow.
And that's the reason why we go through things, because we're supposed to be the prophets were always suffering in front of the nation. Had to walk around naked, eat cakes of excrement
dung
cakes.
Cake. Animal dung
cakes. and still sit here and I'm still gonna serve the Lord regardless of what I'm going through. I'm gonna be a symbol for the nation.
Yeah. Okay, so let's get back to the scripture, and not the scripture, the Josephus. Continue, sir.
Come. Line 161.
Yeah.
When the Most High had said this, Samuel bade Jesse to show him all his sons. So he made 5 others of his sons to come to him, of all whom Eliab was the eldest, Amminadab the second, Aminadab the second, Shammah the third, Nathaniel the fourth, Rael the fifth, and Asam the sixth. And when the prophet saw that these were no way inferior to the eldest in their countenance,
he says every son has a virtue to him. None of these dudes look weak. Read on.
He inquired of the Most High which of them it was whom he chose for their king.
Those were 6 sons, right? We counted 6, right? Yeah. So it's the same as which one of these guys is the anointed? Because they all of them, they got something. They're all potent. Read on.
And when the Most High said it was none of them, he asked Jesse whether he had not some other sons besides these.
He said, man, it wasn't any of them, man. They didn't have what the Most High wanted. So he said, do you have any more sons anywhere? Read on.
And when he said that he had one more, named David, but that he was a shepherd and took care of the flock.
First of all, what did it show about even how Jesse looked at it?
He didn't even count.
Jesse didn't even really listen. I'm going to bring my top dogs, my horses. These are my horses. These 6 cats is potent.
Yeah.
He didn't even, the father didn't even bring him in there, right?
He said David's just a shepherd.
Yeah, he just deals with, that's all he does? You know, it showed David was underestimated from his youth too. He didn't have the look. He didn't have all those attributes that the other sons had. He was still underestimated. Read on.
Samuel bade them call him immediately, for that till he was come, they could not possibly sit down to the feast.
He said, no, we're not going to eat a piece of chicken or a piece of a cow until we sit back here and bring this son in here. The last one. Read on.
Now as soon as his father had sent for David, and he was come, he appeared to be of a yellow complexion, of a sharp sight, and a comely person in other respects also.
Now listen, when it said he was of a yellow complexion, the Bible says ruddy. Now I'm just going to put it on the screen, an image of ruddy. Okay? And you sit back and look at some light-skinned kids, they have the same skin tone as a ruddy cow. If you sit back here and look online and look up ruddy, R-U-D-D-Y, cow,
yep,
you'll see a brown skin, a lighter tan skin animal. Then you sit back here and you compare the images of like little black kids that are light skinned, you'll see the comparison. How can I show them?
It's on the phone. It's on the phone.
Yeah, look online and you'll see the image of a ruddy person in comparison to a ruddy cow.
Hey, can I say why? Because when you're in a nation of Israel, right, ain't no Edomites nation of Israel, right? It's a bunch of brown people.
Because even if you hear yellow, it's yellow bone.
Yeah.
Light skin, it's the same concept.
I mean, everybody's brown.
Yellow bones ain't no white folks.
They're not.
Even
they're not no white folks. Oh, Bethany is yellow bone. No, she's not. She's talking about.
Did y'all see it online? Did you see the online? But that is what ruddy is.
There's just different shades of brown. Like the scripture says, Hadar Ratazah, darkened to the earth. Different shades of brown. The actual shade he was the shade that was considered ruddy. So when you're around a whole bunch of brown people, they're not all just the same brown out.
Yeah.
Like you go to India, it's the same brown out.
That's
it's different shades.
So obviously David's other sons were chocolate. They were dark-skinned brothers, yoked, and he was a light-skinned dude. Huh?
Yeah.
And I guess that was something light skin wasn't in back then. Light skin was not in. You know, comedians always say that different areas it's not time. Light skin doesn't work all the time. Right?
Yeah, that's funny.
I'm being silly, but y'all get the point, right? There's a reason that they said That's why there's a reason they brought out that ruddy look.
Yeah.
It was different for most of the people at the time.
Yeah.
That's all I'm saying, right? So, put that back, man. Listen, I'm not knocking any color. Listen, we're all brothers out. We all Israelites. So keep going. So read it from the top. Now, as soon as his father had sent for David. Read that again.
Come. Line 164. Now as soon as his father had sent for David, and he was come, he appeared to be of a yellow complexion, of a sharp sight.
When it says sharp sight,
I don't know what that means.
that means he was mentally keen.
Oh.
He was a mentally sharp guy. He was a sharp dude mentally. It wasn't just I have 20/40 vision. I don't know what's better than 20/20. It wasn't on a sight angle. He was mentally sharp. Well, what that means is he was able to communicate, adapt. There was a reason he was a good fit in the king's court. Because if you're going to be in the king's court, you have to know when to speak. You have to know when to flatter.
Socially sensitive.
You have to be sensitive to your environment. You have to have tact. You have to know how to communicate, when the best way to communicate. If you're dealing with the king, you just can't say whatever the hell you want to say to the king. You can't keep it real with the king guy. Because you will be hacked and killed. Or you'll be in the stocks in the jail. So you got to know when to talk, when not to talk. Can you read the room? If he's in a pissed off mood, maybe you come back later and talk to him.
Later.
Right. But this is part of his mental keenness. Okay, read on.
And a comely person in other respects also.
So he was not only spiritually handsome, he was attractive to the eyes too. He had the whole combination, bro. Read on.
This is he, said Samuel privately to himself, whom it pleases the Most High to make our king. So he sat down to the feast and placed the youth under him.
This guy was younger than the other sons too. And I would imagine Jesse didn't bring him in because he wasn't of age. He wasn't of war age, so he was a young man. He needed time. Your job, I guess the young man's job is to tend to the flocks, and you deal with grown men business later. So you would imagine, Jesse was like, I'm going to bring my older sons who will be more in a position to take on the throne if need be. Versus David that was still a young dude. He was in his teens. He was a young man. Yes, sir.
Isaiah chapter 55, verse 8.
Isaiah chapter 55 and verse 8. For my thoughts are not your thoughts.
He said what?
For my thoughts are not your thoughts.
And regardless of how Jesse looking at his sons as being qualified, the Most High's ways of looking at us is different from man's ways of looking at us.
Yep.
We don't carry the necessary perspective that the Most High has or shares when he looks at a person. Read on.
Neither are your ways my ways.
Go ahead.
Saith the Lord.
Go ahead.
For as the heavens are higher than the earth, so are my ways higher than your ways, and my thoughts than your thoughts.
So that's why it was he got miscounted. He got discredited and counted out. Nobody saw him fit to be in a position of a future king of Israel. But that's not how the Most High sees things. And a lot of times, especially when you're young person, period, either in the truth or just young in general, you look at people based upon what's attractive to you, but not looking at the intention. And this, sometimes we need time to see intentions. You need time to see a person's inner well-being, or their inner virtue. That's why we tell brothers, when you meet a sister, hey, don't just go head over heels because you met an attractive sister. Won't you bring her to class? Won't you bring her around and let her be examined amongst the body? Same thing for a sister. Just because you met a young brother, don't just bring him in and just give yourself to him. Let him be examined by the body. Because you may not be looking at this person the way you really need to be from a spiritual perspective versus just a carnal perspective. You know what I'm saying? So that's real important that we understand that. Let me let that go.
Okay, so let's go. Let's continue into Josephus.
So he sat down to the feast and placed the youth under him, and Jesse also, with his other sons. After which he took oil in the presence of David and anointed him, and whispered him in the ear, and acquainted him that the Most High chose him to be their king. and exhorted him to be righteous and obedient to his commands, for that by this means his kingdom would continue for a long time, and that his house should be of a great splendor.
It's crazy, man. It's a tough thing. It's a lot of pressure if you look at it that way, that you're told you're going to be the chosen one. And you're a kid and all of your brothers weren't chosen, that were always looked upon as they were the greater ones. And he said, listen, you're going to be the king, but you just got to live righteously. Live righteously, and your name and your children's lineage will stay forever. But listen, sometimes people will take that mindset, take that counsel, and they'll have a big head. And you won't be able to tell them nothing after that. His ability to stay grounded was phenomenal.
That was important.
To get that message, you're going to be the king, and still be humble and keep your same personality as if you didn't get that message. Read on.
And celebrated in the world that he should overthrow the Philistines, and that against what nation soever he should make war, he should be the conqueror and survive the fight, and that while he lived, he should enjoy a glorious name, and leave such a name to his prosperity also.
He was told that he was going to sit back and win these fights against these Philistines. So that kind of helped when he was fighting this giant man that was sitting back here talking trash to the Jews. But we'll go into that later. Let that go, and go to and go back to the scriptures. 1 Samuel chapter 16. And where were we at?
Still on the verse. You still on verse?
I think it was we're still high up there. Maybe we're probably at 8 now. As you read about not looking at the continents or the height of the statue, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, let's keep going.
1 Samuel chapter 16 and verse 8. Then Jesse called Abinadab and made him pass before Samuel. And he said, neither hath the Lord chosen this. Then Jesse made Shammah to pass by. And he said, neither hath the Lord chosen this. And Jesse made 7 of his sons to pass before Samuel. And Samuel said unto Jesse, the Lord hath not chosen these.
Josephus said 6, the scripture says 7. We're going to stick with 7. Read on.
And Samuel said unto Jesse, are here all thy children? And he said, there remaineth yet the youngest,
which would be 8. Read on.
And behold, he keepeth the sheep. And Samuel said unto Jesse, send and fetch him, for we will not sit down till he come hither. And he sent and brought him in. Now he was ruddy, and withal of a beautiful countenance, and goodly to look to.
So he wasn't just some red cat. He wasn't physically red. He was a brown man that was his lighter skin, and we showed the image a second ago. Continue.
And the Lord said, arise, anoint him, for this is he. Then Samuel took the horn of oil and anointed him in the midst of his brethren. And the Spirit of the Lord came upon David from that day forward.
Wow. That's awesome.
Read on.
So Samuel rose up and went to Ramah. But the Spirit of the Lord departed from Saul.
So what the Most High also showed us, when the Most High gave the Spirit to David, he immediately removed that spirit from Saul at around the same time. He took that positive spirit away from Saul. Read on.
So the Most High puts spirits on people?
Yeah.
That they don't operate right?
Yep. You know what's crazy? When what that means in practical terms, when the Most High takes the spirit off of him, that means he has less clarity. You know, because when your spirit's when you're in the right mind frame, you have a lot more spiritual clarity. Yeah. You're able to see things in a lot more spiritual light. But when that spirit comes off of you, your vision is hazy. Your spiritual vision is hazy. You're making less founded spiritual decisions, and you're disconnected to the body.
Erratic.
You're erratic, and you're more inconsistent in your outlook, and all those emotions and feelings dominate you more, so it's harder to see things clearly. That's true. Spiritual matters clearly. And that's the Most High departing His spirit from you. What you gonna say?
No, it just hit me when you said that. It's several different verses that we can go to show how when the Most High is displeased, everybody becomes uncomfortable, around you also.
Huh?
When you look at Jonah, when the damn storm came, Jonah knew exactly why the storm was there. Everybody else was like, man, pray to whatever God you believe in.
You better pray. You better stay prayed up.
Yeah. Whatever God you believe in, you better pray to him because we need to get this storm off our head.
Didn't they throw Jonah off the boat?
Yeah, but Jonah knew that it was because of him. He knew.
He didn't say nothing.
He didn't say nothing, but he knew that his Lord was angry with him, man. He knew. That's what I'm saying. When the Most High Spirit is on you, it's removed. But everybody suffers around you when the Most High Spirit is not with you. You know what I'm saying? That's what I want to bring up.
That's crazy, man. Come on. So let's keep going, now.
And an evil spirit from the Lord troubled him.
An evil
So
spirit.
the Most High took His spirit and put a negative spirit, an evil spirit of the what?
Of the Lord.
God.
Listen, I'm so nervous all the time, man. I'm so paranoid. Everybody's out to get me. People hate me,
The
man.
feds aren't taking
I gotta
pictures
look
of you,
over my
right?
shoulder. I gotta look over my shoulder all day. What are you doing? What are you entertaining? The Most High got the spirit on you, right?
Yeah. All facts. And this is what's happening to Saul. And that and an evil spirit was a what you're gonna read is a paranoid spirit. What you're gonna find out, most kings, what do they hold in their hand when they're the king?
A staff.
A staff, a scepter. What did Saul have in his hand?
AK-47.
Yeah, he had an equivalent to an AK, which was what? It was how the hell you the king and you holding the javelin all damn day long? You spinning it around, you flipping it, you doing this. Why you have a war instrument? You have men around you that are warriors that are sworn to defend you. You rolling 50 deep with people that are just assassins. You have an assassin hit squad with you. Why you got to have a javelin on you?
I'm scared.
Because you're paranoid.
Yeah.
You can't trust nobody.
Yeah.
You got that Scarface spirit on you, huh?
Yeah.
Everybody's out to get you. You cursing out the people that are trying to help you. You going, but you killing Manolo. This is Saul, huh? He's going crazy. That's part of that evil spirit. Okay, let's continue.
And Saul's servant said unto him, Behold now, an evil spirit from the Most High troubled.
I gotta put paranoid, unreasonably, or obsessively anxious, suspicious, or mistrustful. I don't have a reason to be this suspicious.
But I am. I'm in the wrong mindset, regardless. What continue? Was that what you were saying?
Also, you can read this negative spirit being equivalent to what different verses call a distemper or distemper. And that distemper, by definition, it says is a bad constitution of the mind. It says undue predominance of a passion or appetite. It's a want of due balance or parts of opposite qualities and principles. Meaning you don't have any balance. There's no balance to your mindset. You're erratic. You're sporadic.
Yeah.
And it also says a disease, a malady, any morbid state. So it's when you also know that it's a depression, it's anxiety, it's suicidal tendencies, it's everything's bad. It's a negative outlook. It says a bad constitution of mind, meaning everything's evil. Everybody's out to get me.
Yeah.
I can't trust anybody. I can't show love. I despise the people around me. All that is like a
mental play.
A mental play. It's all in the mind, man.
Huh?
It's a psychological disease, bro.
And that's what an evil spirit is. From the Lord is.
Yep.
It's a paranoia.
Yep.
Because let's keep going.
An evil spirit from the Most High troubleth thee.
Even the servants can see it, because why? He's snapping on the servants.
Yep.
You don't think they're like you? I think you mentioned this segment ago about how that negativity affects everybody around you.
Yep.
Now the whole palace is all messed up. Everybody's walking on eggshells because this dude's a demon.
Yep.
Read on.
Let our Lord now command thy servants, which are before thee, to seek out a man who is a cunning player on an harp. And it shall come to pass, when the evil spirit from the Most High is upon thee, that he shall play with his hand, and thou shalt be well.
I guess they felt that you could play music and take spirits off people.
It's true.
Yeah, you know why?
It's going to mess your thing up.
You know why? Because you can listen to music and it put a spirit on you.
Yeah.
Music has spirits.
Facts.
You know what I'm saying? So you can listen to music that can get you in a I don't care mentality.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? That you can get it. You listen to music and it gets you real sad, real depressed.
Or you want to shoot something?
Yeah.
And you want to set trip?
You want to pop more pills.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Just crazy. Juice World. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Just singing music that doesn't do you any good. It's not inspirational. It's not hopeful.
That's true.
You know, it's just real negative.
Despair.
You know, it's gloomy. It's sad. It's sad music that don't put you in a good posture. It don't give you a positive state of mind. That's why you got to be careful for what music you listen to.
Yep.
It just shows you right there. All music ain't good music.
So
that's a real deal.
Exactly. So this music was going to be good enough to help heal his soul and take that negative off. So he had to find who can sit back here and play the harp at that expert level to get demons off people out.
Yeah.
But read on.
And Saul said unto his servants, Provide me now a man that can play well, and bring him to me. Then answered one of the servants and said, Behold, I have seen a son of Jesse, the Bethlehemite, that is cunning in playing, and a mighty valiant man, and a man of war, and prudent in matters, and a comely person.
So listen, I love this verse because I've always, even when I was a young man, I wanted to try to pattern myself as much as I could to the standard that David put. Look at how well-rounded he was. He was expert in playing that instrument. He wasn't just some regular dude. He wasn't some hack off the street playing bad music. If the king is summoning you, he was an expert in playing music. He was a valiant man in war, so he had the courage to stand up and fight his battles. I was a valiant man, which means courageous. He was a man of war. He was prudent in matters, meaning he had the tact to fit in a kingly circle. He had the ability to communicate and process things with intelligence.
This is appropriate.
And he was a good-looking dude, and the Most High was with him. I'm going to say this. How many people do you see that are that well-rounded and still humble?
That's true.
How many people have all these good things going for them, and they don't choose to just position their life and live for them? Because most people with all these things going on for them in their life, they choose themselves, and they do them.
That's true.
And they try to work their life to their benefit versus working their life to the service of the Most High and the body. But he is still the temple, him in Christ, obviously, of how to carry yourself and what to try to aspire for spiritually and mindset and disposition-wise. He was well-rounded, put together, and the Most High was with him. Hold this verse and go to Isaiah 11:2. Matter of fact, verse 1 and 2.
Sorry. Isaiah chapter 11, verse 1. And there shall come forth a rod out of the stem of Jesse, and a branch shall grow out of his roots.
That branch is talking about Christ. Read on.
And the Spirit of the Lord shall rest upon him.
See, Christ has those same similar, well-rounded attributes, but just greater than Christ. He said, greater than David. He says, the Spirit of the Most High is going to rest on him. Read on.
The Spirit of wisdom and understanding.
The Spirit of wisdom and understanding. Read on.
The Spirit of counsel and might.
Counsel and might. The ability to handle affairs and to fight your battles and to be courageous and valiant. Read on.
The Spirit of knowledge and of the fear of the Lord.
The crazy thing is this. All of these spirits, quote unquote, can be earned by your servitude. When we talked about earlier about how the Most High gives to all men liberally, he can give us each and every one of these spirits, each and every one of these attributes: wisdom, understanding, counsel, might, knowledge, and the fear of the Lord. But how hard are you willing to work to gain these attributes? They don't come easy. How much you willing to sacrifice in your own life to keep growing and getting these attributes? This is what we should be shooting towards and fighting towards. Let's go back now to Samuel.
verse 9.
Okay.
No, sorry.
No, it's we're down in verse 19 now.
19. Wherefore Saul sent messengers unto Jesse, and said, Send me David thy son, which is with the sheep. And Jesse took an ass laden with bread, and a bottle of wine, and a kid, and sent them by David his son unto Saul.
What's crazy is, this is one of the things that Samuel warned about having a king. This guy just lost his son, huh? Just because Samuel said, bring him to my palace.
Saul, yep.
I want, Samuel.
Saul.
Saul. Yeah, because Saul said, I want him. So now you're going to lose your youngest son? You got to put him on a damn horse, on a damn donkey.
With some bread.
And some bread and some wine. I guess the wine was for Saul. Give him this, give him some meat, and walk to Saul, huh? And go on a horse and walk to Saul. You just lose your son like that? Yep. Just because the king wants him? That's how things were, though. So keep going.
And David came to Saul, and stood before him, and he loved him greatly, and became his armor bearer.
Once again, I love the fact that David had all of these abilities, and remained humble, remained respectful, and was able to still keep in his place, even though he knew Samuel already whispered, you're going to be the king. I'm anointing you. But he still carried himself as the nobody. That's a power that most of us don't have. Read on.
And Saul sent to Jesse, saying, Let David, I pray thee, stand before me, and he hath found favor in my sight. And it came to pass.
Meaning, after he spent time with David, he realized, man, I like this guy. Listen, Jesse, I'm going to keep him. Thanks. He didn't ask him. He's like, I'm going to keep him. He's like, just know he's going to be here. I'm going to take care of him.
Right.
You ain't seeing your son again unless you go make a trip to the king. Read on.
But even Saul knew that evil spirit was on him.
Yeah.
So Saul inquired of somebody that can help him take that spirit off of him, or at least make it easier to deal with that negative spirit. Some of us don't even have the ability to look for somebody to ask for help. Even in Saul's detachment from the Most High, he still looked toward somebody with some virtues for assistance. We got to ask ourselves, do we have the same ability to look and reach out to find somebody that has virtues that we need, that we can borrow from, to be able to remedy us out of our personal problems?
Are we able to seek counsel?
Exactly. Because even Saul in his detachment from the Most High still sought counsel. You know what I'm saying? And we have to have that same level, at least, of humility in that fashion. That when I don't have the right disposition, I don't have the right state of mind, I know I'm not dealing correctly, and the Most High is not pleased with my state of mind. Do I have the ability to pick up the phone and make a phone call? Because that's something that we can do. Can I pick up the phone and talk to somebody that has a good disposition, a good state of mind, that's dealing with some prudence, some wisdom, that can give to help me ease the thoughts that I deal with? We still have to have that same level of humility as well.
Yep. So, give me verse 23.
And it came to pass, when the evil spirit from the Most High was upon Saul.
Now we're going to go to paragraph 2 in the Josephus, because it explains in more detail what type of evil spirit was on Saul and what that spirit was doing to him. So this evil spirit is on Saul. Hold that. I want to go to the Josephus and read paragraph 2. So now we're at Josephus, book 6, chapter 8, paragraph 2. Read that.
So Samuel, when he had given him these
admonitions,
went away.
So Samuel obviously had communicated to David about what's going to happen and the conditions of his conduct. If he kept his conduct right and lived a righteous life, then he'd get blessed. Read on.
But the divine power departed from Saul.
And then the divine power departed from Saul. Read on.
And removed to David, who upon this removal of the divine spirit to him, began to prophesy.
So crazy, listen, David's prophesying now too. He's prophesying, the spirit is with him, and you're still under the guy that the spirit left. Read on.
But as for Saul, some strange and how you pronounce it? demoniacal disorders came upon him.
So it wasn't just a negative mindset. He had literal demons on him. He was losing it, but listen to what happens. Read on.
And brought upon him such suffocation.
He was suffocating. He had demons choking him. He had spirits hovering on top of him. For those of us who are in tune to that, how many of y'all have sit back here and been in the bed and the spirit held you down and you couldn't move?
Sleep paralysis.
Listen, this demon was actually choking him.
So apnea.
Call it having a witch on you. That's my mom used to call it.
Wow. Having a witch on it?
Oh yeah, witch riding you right. You sleep and you can't move, and you're so terrified you want to wake up, but you can't force yourself to wake up.
That's what you called it, man.
Yeah,
a witch on you?
I used to have that a lot when I was younger.
A witch on you. That's crazy.
Witch riding you back.
It is how Jesus says it is crazy.
You're like laying there trying to speak and stuff.
Yeah, you can't talk and you can't move. That's the witch on you. I guess I'm gonna take the patent. The witch on your back. But this one, the spirit was choking him and suffocating him.
Man, you don't even want to go to sleep.
Hell no.
That's like Freddy Krueger.
That's where they got it from, though.
Oh, that's where they got it from?
That's where they got it from.
Well, you know Wes Craven is, he's probably on some Kabbalistic stuff. You know what I'm saying? They understand.
Listen, that'll bring paranoia to you.
Yeah.
You're dozing off, your eyes is red, you're tired, you're exhausted, you're hallucinating.
Yeah.
You go to sleep, you're getting choked up. Oh, man, that's the worst thing ever. You know, the most I was like, if you're not going to get off the throne, I'm going to make your life a living hell on this throne. No sleep, no rest, nothing to ease him but some music. That's it, bro. Damn, that's suffering, huh?
That is suffering.
Most High is getting them, huh?
1, 2, 3, 4.
3, 4, better lock your door. That's hilarious, huh? It's something crucifix, like, oh no. That's horrible stuff. Huh?
You'll be drinking Red Bulls every night.
There wasn't no Red Bulls back. That's the problem. There wasn't no coffee.
Yeah.
It was none of that, huh? Golly, you pacing. That's what you got. You got some jumping jacks you can do. Huh?
Hey, you gonna
push-ups.
You gonna be sleeping in your mama's bed.
Oh man, that's the worst thing ever, right? So read that part again. It says, the suffocations, and brought upon him such suffocations.
And brought upon him such suffocations as were ready to choke him.
Damn, man.
But which the physicians could find no other remedy.
There was nothing that they could do to stop these spirits from just cursing him and choking him up. Right? Read on.
But this, that if any person could charm those passions by singing.
So listen. You had to be so skillful. You can pull those choke spirits off by playing certain music. Right? Damn, man. Read on.
And playing upon the harp, they advised them to inquire for such a one.
So you had to sing and you had to play the harp. So David could sing too. He was singing and playing the harp, and that combination pulled these demons off him. So what is the Most High doing? The Most High is creating a need for David to insert him in this situation and be a thorn in his side the whole way. Because you know what the crazy thing is? You know what Saul loved about him and at the same time hated about him? Was that he was a good man. And what he hated about him was that he was a better man than him. And a lot of cats can't deal with that shit. That this guy is better than me and he's more honorable than me, and I gotta live with that. And I gotta see him every day. I gotta see a guy that's dapping me up and respectful and in order, and I know the Most High is with him, and I know he's not with me. That dynamic, he loves him, but he hates him because he's better than him. Because Saul did love David. It tells you earlier. He did love him. But he hated looking bad more than loving David. So anyway, the Most High created this dynamic to where all David's talents could be used to get him in the door and start these chain of events that was going to sit back and lead to Saul's downfall. So let's keep going into Josephus.
Come. And to observe when these demons came upon him and disturbed him.
It's crazy, huh?
That means David had to be on the night shift.
You was on call 24/7.
Yeah.
You was on call.
I gotta stand by this man's bed and watch him go to sleep. And then when he's choking in his sleep, I gotta start singing.
You better get all the lemon juice you need to clear your throat. You gotta make sure you gotta do your finger dexterity exercises.
Do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti.
Get your Carl Thomas on, bro. But let's keep going now.
It says, and to take care that such a person might stand over him and play upon the harp and recite hymns to him.
It's crazy, bro. Like you said, you got to get over him while he's getting choked out, and play music and sing to save this man's life. Read on.
Line 167. Accordingly, Saul did not delay.
Hell no! You want to get these demons off you. Read on.
But commanded them to seek out such a man, and when a certain standard by said that he had seen in the city of Bethlehem a son of Jesse, who was yet no more than a child in age, but comely and beautiful, and in other respects one that was deserving of great regard, who was skillful in playing on the harp and in singing of hymns, and an excellent soldier in war. He sent to Jesse and desired him to take David away from the flocks and send him to him, for he had a mind to see him, as having heard at his advantages character of his comeliness and his valor. So Jesse sent his son and gave him presents to carry to Saul. And when he was come, Saul was pleased with him and made him his armor bearer.
So that means David is always near Saul if he's the armor bearer. He's always helping him get dressed with his final part of his garments. That means he's spending a lot of time with him, man. Read on.
And had him in very great esteem.
So Saul really liked David. Read on.
For he charmed his passion and was the only physician against the trouble he had from the demons.
He was his only help. When I get these demons on me, this is the only guy that can pull this shit out. I'm paying all these lawyers, but them PhDs can't do nothing for me. Them Hebrew PhDs that don't mean nothing right now. What you gonna say?
No, I'm just loving how the Most High orchestrated all of this. How it was a plan in motion, just every little step to put David right.
You know what it sounds like also is very similar to when the children of Israel in Egypt spoke against Moses, and they was getting bit by them flying serpents and getting stung in the wilderness, and their only method of healing was to have to look at Moses,
the person that they hated,
and the only way to get healed from the bites, he had to hold up that staff, and then you got to focus on the person that you hate to get your healing. So the Most High set it up that way sometimes. That's what this reminds me of. You know
the guy you got the most beef with, you got to go to him for counsel. Shit.
Yeah.
That's awesome, and it's all facts. It's all facts. But keep going now.
Whensoever it was that it came upon him, and this by reciting of hymns and playing upon the harp and bringing Saul to his right mind again.
Damn, man.
Wow. However, he sent to Jesse, the father of the child, and desired him to permit David to stay with him.
He ain't coming home, man. Listen, what if Jesse would have said no?
Yeah.
He was gonna stay there anyway. You gonna be here? You gonna let go of the oldie guy that's taking demons off him and go back home?
You know what they said?
It's over.
I'm gonna see you Passover.
Exactly that. But keep going. Oh, come visit him.
Yeah.
Read on.
For that he was delighted with his sight and company, which stayed, that he might not contradict Saul. He granted.
Hell yeah, he's gonna agree. So we're gonna let that go and finish verse 23 in the scriptures. Yes, I
say this. Jesse understood what Samuel had told him anyway before king was even anointed. Because remember, he told him the king gonna take away your son.
Yeah, and we said earlier. Exactly. That's the point.
Already do that.
Exactly. Yeah.
But what I wanted to bring out was 1 Chronicles 25:1. it says, moreover, David and the captains of the host separated to the service of the sons of Asaph and of Heman and of Juthan, who should prophesy with harps, with psalteries, and with timbrels. And the number of the workmen according to their service was. So this is just bringing out how music has a spirit to it. Because remember, at the beginning of what we was reading in Antiquity of the Jews, it said that the physicians couldn't help Saul. But he had the title of a physician. But it went on to say that David was a physician. Even though he didn't have that title, even though he probably never studied medicine, he was still a physician of him in the spirit. Which shows you that Saul's issue was spiritual.
All spiritual.
It wasn't a physical issue that he had. What I like about what I just read in Chronicles is that it shows you also that music has a spirit to it. That's why they have different genres of music. So if you're trying to get in the mood, there's a music for that. If you finna go fight, there's a music for that. If you're trying to go to sleep, there's a music for that.
Some gym music too. All of it,
But the true purpose, crump music, but the true purpose of music was to praise the Most High. That's why they were prophesying through their instruments.
And obviously David trained men in that art. Because obviously wasn't many people out there that was able to do it. It's all facts.
Wasn't David a chief musician?
Yeah. Listen, that was what got him into the door in the first place. And when he became king, he started molding the kingdom in a more spiritual fashion. Listen, what it also shows you is that medicine can only take you so far. Modern herbs and medication can only take you so far. There has to be a spiritual element to rehabilitation. Scripture also tells you that the spirit of a man will sustain his infirmities. There is a fine line between herbs and medication that can only go so far.
They can only help the physical body, the anatomy of the body, but not the spirit.
Because the spirit helps feed that will and drive to push through and endure. So let's continue. Give me verse 23. Read it from the top again.
First Psalms chapter 16 and verse 23. And it came to pass, when the evil spirit from the Most High was upon Saul, that David took in heart.
When he was getting choked up. Read on.
That David took in heart and played with his hand. So Saul was refreshed and was well, and the evil spirit departed from him.
He was hell. You weren't choked up no more. You might be able to get some sleep.
The spirit like this.
After the spirit left, you can go take a nap.
This is really good. I'm gonna leave. I'll be back though.
And that's the problem. He kept coming back. That's crazy. So let's keep going. Next man. Tasapa. Karai, I know you gotta get out of here, man.
Tazapah Ariyah, Shal Shabbatah, Rahaban, Ban Yasha'Allah.
Tazapah Ariyah, Shal Shabbatah, Ban Rahaban, Ban Yasha'Allah. I'm much. Yahweh Hashem Yasha'Allah.
Yahweh Hashem Yasha'Allah.
Hey, Karat, could you go up here and bottle? Because the highway is always packed this time of day. On Saturday.
Okay, so now we're in 1 Samuel chapter 17.
1 Samuel chapter 17 and verse 1. Now the Philistines gathered together their armies to battle, and were gathered together at Shophach, which belonged to Judah, and pitched between Shochach and Azekah and
Ephraim. So now we hear these damn Philistines out here causing problems again. These guys always, they're always trying different ways to get the W. I respect their effort out. They're sitting back here. Listen, a couple of chapters ago they was taking all the iron out. Then they sat back here, they took the ark. They try all the time.
That's a bad one.
That was a really bad one. And now they're going to sit back here and bring their strong man here out to try to take him out of it. So here we go. Read on.
And Saul and the men of Israel were gathered together and pitched by the valley of Elah, and set the battle in array against the Philistines.
So they're sitting back here. Everybody's getting ready to fight, nation on nation, near the land of Judah. Read on.
And the Philistines stood on a mountain on the one side, and Israel stood on a mountain on the other side. And there was a valley between them.
Mm-hmm.
And there went out a champion of the camp of the Philistines named Goliath of Gath, whose weight was 6 cubits and a span.
So his height was 6 cubits and a span. And if you sit back and look at that measurement, it's between 9 feet and 11 feet.
Because a cubit is, how you measure a cubit was from the forearm. During ancient times of measurement, you measure a cubit from the end of the forearm to the tip of the finger. But everybody has different lengths of arms.
Exactly, you can.
So they say it was estimated between 18 to 24 inches. So that was a cubit. So it shows you multiply 18 to 24 inches times 6 cubits.
This dude was 9 feet, actually.
Yeah, give you around what he was.
He was 9 feet. This is low ball. Let's say 9.5. That's big, bro. 9.5 feet. Anyway, I saw Yao Ming in a basketball game one day, and this dude was huge. And just seeing him, because for some reason we got some free tickets during preseason. We saw the Rockets. This dude was like 7'6", and he was huge. I'm like, this is insane. I'd probably be in his tummy, in his neighborhood. He was a huge dude, and I can only imagine 9 feet to 11 feet tall.
Well, it's 18 inches, right?
Yeah, on average between 18 to 24 inches.
So 18 inches is 1 cubit times 6. That's 108 inches, right?
It's like 12 feet tall.
Yeah,
divided by 12.
108 divided by 12.
It was 16 to 24.
It's 9 feet.
So it's 9 to 11 feet out.
Wow.
So he's tall. He's huge, bro.
He the height of a basketball rim.
Yeah.
That's crazy. That's even worse. And
Best
this dude's all muscle. And this dude is a killer.
Yeah.
But let's keep going.
Verse 5. And he had an helmet of brass upon his head, and he was armed with a coat of mail.
A coat of mail is like those medieval times when you had that covering over your body that covered your arm and your chest and your waist. Okay? And it was brass, huh?
No, chainmail.
Chainmail, yeah, chainmail. It was chainmail and it was brass too. Read on.
And the weight of the coat was 5,000 shekels of brass.
5,000 shekels of brass is 100 pounds. So you're walking with 100 pounds. Listen, I put some chainmail on. I don't know if it was many years ago when we had a Passover on Ritterman. And I'm telling you this, I got off that shit quick. Listen, we did prayers and I got off it. I didn't wait to eat. There was no way I was going to eat a meal with that chainmail on. Listen, my heartbeat was doing this. It was like a workout. It was so much heavier.
I think you said it weighed 80 pounds at the time.
No, it could have been 80 pounds. I would have been like,
no, because you had the head change.
Yes, it looked fire,
yeah.
But I was struggling. Yeah, I was struggling behind it.
The headpiece.
I don't think it was 80, man. I think
altogether. I think you said altogether when you put it all on, it's 80 pounds.
I don't know if I would have put the headpiece on. I don't think I had the headpiece on there. But all I know is it's hard to move.
Yeah.
And when you have it on, you walking it, it's like your chest, your heart's pushing out. And you're working out. And I'm like, this is how do these English cats do it? I don't know how they did it.
I don't know how they fought it.
And then you're having these heavy swords. The fighting is slow and deliberate. And maybe once you get used to it, it's okay. But it's heavy, man. And this guy had 100 pounds worth of just the coat of mail. That's not talking about the helmet either. So you're just stacking weight on you. So anyway, let's keep going.
Verse 6. And he had greaves of brass upon his legs.
Greaves of brass is what protects your legs, your lower legs in war. So I guess if somebody had to sit back here and put a sword at your leg, you at least have some protection from your legs. So you just don't get hacked and you watch Braveheart. And they sat back and took the guy's leg off in one swoop, and you're sitting back here, one leg the rest of the fight. This protects your legs, the lower leg in fighting battle. So the chainmail goes down to your thighs, and the other chainmail, your legs, covers your legs up. Okay? And read on.
And the target of brass between his shoulders.
The target of brass is like a piece that protects your neck. It's in between your shoulders. So if somebody tries to take a hack at you, it's going to sit back here and hit that protective neck brace before it just goes right to your neck. So what he's doing, he's putting all this armor that protects the weakest parts of his body. He's damn near impenetrable. His neck, which is a weak spot, is covered. His legs are covered. His arm and his chest and his waist and his legs are all protected. And that part that protects his neck was 30 pounds.
Yeah.
Can you imagine 30 pounds on your neck? 100 pounds on your chest? Not to mention the helmet of brass on your head that we don't know the weight of? That had to be around 50 pounds. Don't forget what David's headpiece was. Well, his crown was like 75 pounds when he became king and was older. But this guy had at least a 50-pound helmet, 30-pound neck brace, 100-pound body armor, and you had some leg braces. This brother, first of all, you wasn't gonna go one-on-one this rest of this guy and win at. It was over, right? Can you imagine him being over you? It's over. Hell yeah. Shit. This is menacing. But let's keep going.
Verse 7. And the staff of his spear was like a weaver's beam.
It's like you know what? The whole weaver's beam is like a staff type item, and it was 5 feet, and it was around 13 and 15 pounds. So he had a 15-pound staff javelin in his hand. It's just all weight, and he's gonna sit back and roll up on you, and he's gonna pound you into submission. And what are you gonna do? Nothing. Read on.
And his spear's head weighed 600 shekels of iron. And one bearing a shield went before him.
And he says, and one bearing a shield went before him. So 13 pounds was that 600 shekels of iron. Give me verse 8.
And he stood and cried unto the armies of Israel, and said unto them, Why are you come out to set your battle in array? Am not I a Philistine, and ye servants to Saul? Choose you a man from you, and let him come down to me.
First of all, he was yelling at him. He wasn't crying to him.
Yeah.
He was sitting back here. I'm gonna sit back and flex on you guys. Where y'all at? Where's your mighty men? Get your best men to come against me, man on man. He's like Deboing him right here. He's Deboing him right now.
He's talking cast up.
Listen, and that's what he said. He's talking cast up. What sometimes is overlooked is that the Philistines were there for 40 days. Huh? That means for 40 days, nobody stepped up. Nobody. They were sitting back here like this.
What talking to me? They're talking to me.
Listen, they're talking trash to the Israelite army for 40 days.
Did you hear that?
No.
I hear nothing. I hear nothing.
Listen, what you gonna do, Saul? What you gonna do, Saul?
Yeah.
You gonna go out there and touch the smoke?
I don't know what y'all talking about.
I'm busy. I'm busy right
40 days. Listen. It ain't like there's anything to do. And during ancient Israel at that time, what you gonna do? You're saying, look at this warrior over here, right? Walking around here cussing y'all out. That's it. Listen, let's keep going now.
Verse 9. If he be able to fight with me and to kill me, then will we be your servants. But if I prevail against him and kill him, then shall ye be our servants and serve us.
He's like, shit. The nation's like, shit. What we gonna do? This ain't gonna work. Read on.
And the Philistines said, I defy the armies of Israel this day.
Now they're chirping, huh? They are chirping. This is 40 days of chirping. You're gonna read it in verse 16. Read on. Give me a man that we may fight together. Like I said, listen, where are the mighty men of Israel? Where are y'all warriors? Listen, I ain't gonna say it because it's a negative statement. But listen, it's very negative, and he's calling Israel out. And he's calling them a bunch of you know what. Because ain't nobody gonna step up in your mighty men? You ain't got no warriors? Read on.
Verse 11. When Saul and all Israel heard those words of the Philistines, they were dismayed and greatly afraid.
Hell yeah! Because nobody was going to step up. Everybody like this. Give us the night to think about it. We're going to give us the night to think about it. The next day came.
Give us another night.
That's what I'm saying. We're going to keep stretching this out because I don't have an answer. I don't got an answer to your question.
You know, Israel ought to buy time.
But every day they're talking more trash. Read on.
Now David was the son of that Ephraite of Bethlehem, Judah, whose name was Jesse. And he had 8 sons. And the man went among men for an old man in the days of Saul. And the 3 eldest sons of Jesse went and followed Saul to the battle. And the names of his 3 sons that went to the battle were Eliab, the firstborn, and the next unto him Abinadab, and the third Shammah.
So those are the 3 that Samuel thought was going to be the kings. So he said, no, but they got something in them. They didn't want to fight him. All the handsome and the size, what does that mean now? Going against 9'9". All that little 6'2", nothing. That ain't shit.
I mean nothing now.
6'4" don't mean nothing. We go against 9'9".
Yeah.
Read on.
And David was the youngest, and the 3rd eldest followed Saul. But David went and returned from Saul to feed his father's sheep at Bethlehem.
So there wasn't nothing going on at this time. I might as well go back home and help my dad out in his land.
Yeah.
Read on.
And the Philistine drew near morning and evening, and presented himself 40 days.
40 days they were sitting back here, and there was no decision. How long is it going to take? The Philistines were patient because they knew they had him. They knew they had him. Like, this is going to be the time we're going to break it. Whatever time you want. Listen, you're going to have to make a decision sometime. 40 days, they're sitting back here biting their fingernails. They're pacing. They're nervous as hell. Then you can do it.
Yeah.
I know. I didn't do it, son. Come on now.
He's the biggest guy.
He's a killer. Yeah. But see, Saul was the biggest guy.
Oh, word.
Don't forget, Saul was the tallest man. Say, Saul, you don't do it, my lord.
I ain't get no sleep last night. I need to get some rest.
Oh my God! It was designed to happen that way because that's psychological warfare.
Hell yeah!
You see this big giant, he got this heavy armor, and then at the end it said that somebody went before him to carry his shield.
Yeah!
That was all intimidation, huh?
And he's chirping for 40 days. You think they were sitting back here and just chilling? They were chirping and talking trash about it. Where's the mighty man? This has been day 15. Well, what's taking y'all so long? I don't hear nothing. And then they're laughing at him. They're clowning. You know they're clowning at him. And they're still not saying anything.
And they talk about your God too. That's the thing.
Yep.
They talk about your God. They rub it in. They rub it in. Where's your God now?
Yeah.
Where's the one that causes so much trouble that you believe in so much? You know what I'm saying? That's in essence, that's what was done to us here in America.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? They would lynch us, leave us, mock us. Put that lynching sign up real quick if you can. They would lynch us and then put signs up that says please do not wait.
Wake 'em, yeah.
Yeah. That's mockery. That's mockery that you don't have any help. Who's gonna it's the big lynch sign. This is what the nations do to you when they got you beat. When the nations know they got you beat, this is what they do to you. When they know they got you cornered, and they know that nobody's gonna come and help you, that's when they really start pouring on the mockery. That's when they start pouring on the crap talking. You don't think this sign is crap talking? The man is already dead on a pole. He's already hung. He's already dead. Do you expect him to wake up? But what is that?
Mockery.
That's mockery. See, when the nations got you, look at their faces. Look at their faces. Look at the smirks. Look at the smiles. Look at the gestures. Ha ha. Look at him. Don't wake him up. He might wake up. Leave him alone. You know what I'm saying?
The crazy thing is that's a kid holding the sign.
No, the sign is hanging on his feet.
Oh,
When you get up closer, they got the sign that says please do not wait hung on his toes. It's hanging from his toes. So they put the sign on his feet. Don't wake me up. See, this is how the nations operate when they feel like you're unprotected. This is how the nations deal with you when they feel like your God has despised you. Your God has abandoned you. There's no reason. So what they're trying to say is, why should you believe in a God that lets this type of thing happen, that doesn't come to your defense? And that's what the Philistines in essence is trying to do. antagonize Israel in the fact of, why should you believe in the Most High when he doesn't believe, when you don't believe he's going to come to your rescue? That's what the Philistines is trying to get put into the minds of Israel. Your God has abandoned you. He's forsaken you. He don't love you. But you can't believe that, even when this type of thing happens. You know what I'm saying? Because that's mockery. Just put that back. That's just a sign. That's just to give you an up-to-date idea about how we get dealt with when we're at our worst state. You know what I'm saying? And when people are trying to convince us not to believe in the Most High. You know what I'm saying? They gotta, you know what they don't understand? They gotta pay for that sign. They gotta pay for that mockery. They gotta pay for that idea that, you know what, you've been forsaken, nobody loves you, so I can bully you, I can treat you and deal with you however I want. You know what I'm saying? They gotta pay for that. You know what I'm saying? And that's what Christ is gonna come do anyway. But that same mentality was alive then just as much as it is now today. That mockery has not gone anywhere. That mockery has not left. That spirit has not gone anywhere. The nations got the same mentality today. Look at these niggas. Look at these clowns. Look at these fools. Look at these drug addicts. Look at these gang members. You know what I'm saying? Look at these crackheads. You know what I'm saying? They mock us when we're at a low point, especially when we're afraid. You know what I'm saying? So somebody has to stand up with boldness, and that's what the Most High is waiting for with David.
And the thing is, the people that stand up in this generation, they're always rappers. They're athletes.
Yeah, sports athletes.
They're actors.
Yeah.
Jesse Smollett wants to sit here and stand up.
Right.
So what we do is we're waiting for celebrities to stand up for our people.
Yeah. Or to take a knee at a football game.
Yeah, take a knee at the football game. We're waiting for athletes, celebrities, and politicians to stand up for our people. And none of their power is not the Most High God. Their power is not the God of the Bible. Their power is their money. Their power is the Constitution. Their power is the white man's politics and laws. Their power is their physical ability. Their power is their ability to create music. That's their power. But their power isn't the Most High. This is why we're still on the bottom. We're waiting.
That's what makes their campaign ineffective.
Come.
You know what I'm saying? Because you know what? You can boycott for so long. You can only boycott for so long. You can only take a knee for so long. But what does that really do? You know what I'm saying? What does that really do when you're just taking a knee?
What's the spiritual power behind it?
Right. Or you know what I'm saying? Well, don't spend your money with them. Okay, cool. Don't buy Nikes, or don't buy Adidas, or don't buy Jordans, or don't buy. You still gotta eat. You still gotta shop. Don't buy Tommy Hilfiger because he said he didn't make his clothes for blacks and Hispanics. So don't boycott Tommy Hilfiger. Shit, Tommy Hilfiger stores are still open. Nothing's happened. His shoes are still being sold. His clothes still being sold. Nothing's happened. So this is when somebody has to be willing to call on the Most High in a time of trouble, and that's what we all should do. And when things are at this particular level, you call on the Most High, let the Most High intervene. You know what I'm saying?
Yes, sir. So, where we at?
Verse 17.
Mm-hmm.
And Jesse said unto David his son, Take now for thy brethren an ephah of this parched corn, and these 10 loaves, and run to the camp to thy brethren.
And this verse kind of shows how the army was kind of unorganized. They didn't have a structured army. If everybody got to bring food to their particular family members, they were just sitting back here coming together when they had to fight. So Jesse's like, okay, listen, man, bring them some food because they're gonna be there for a while. You can tell there wasn't anything organized because everybody was coming from different cities. When they were called, it was like a militia. So this is where they're at. Okay, David, bring them some food. Read on.
And carry these 10 cheeses unto the captain of their 1,000, and look how thy brethren fare, and take their pledge.
Mm-hmm.
Now Saul and they and all the men of Israel were in the valley of Elah, fighting with the Philistines. And David rose up early in the morning and left the sheep with a keeper, and took and went as Jesse had commanded him. And he came to the trench as the host was going forth to the fight, and shouted for the battle.
Mm-hmm.
For Israel and the Philistines had put the battle in array, army against army.
So obviously, they chose to fight army versus army versus sitting back here and fighting Goliath. Read on. They didn't like that deal. Read on.
And David left his carriage in the hand of the keeper of the carriage, and ran into the army, and came and saluted his brethren. And as he talked with them, behold, there came up the champion, the Philistine of Gath, Goliath by name, out of the armies of the Philistines, and spake according to the same words, and David heard them. And all the men of Israel, when they saw the man, fled from him, and were so afraid.
Yeah. Listen, if you ain't gonna fight him in 40 days, you ain't gonna find him when he rose up to you.
Exactly.
He already made that a clear present point. Read on.
And the men of Israel said, Have ye seen this man that is come up? Surely to defy Israel is he come up. And it shall be that the man who killeth him, the king will enrich him with great riches, and will give him his daughter, and make his father's house free in Israel.
So what he's saying is now Saul is having to sit back and give some kind of incentive.
Yeah.
If whoever's going to take this dude out, I'm gonna give you money, riches, power, my daughter. You don't owe the king nothing forever.
Yeah. No.
He got to sit back. He got to make this worth it. Because he ain't doing it. Saul ain't doing it. He's like, I'm not doing it. What do I got to do to get these guys to fight out? I'm gonna give you money, bread, my daughter. What do you want?
No new taxes.
No new taxes. Literally, no new taxes. But keep going. So he's having to sweep the deal up because nobody wants to fight him. Read on.
Verse 26. And David spake to the men that stood by him, saying, What shall be done to the man that killeth this Philistine, and taketh away the reproach from Israel? For who is this uncircumcised Philistine, that he should defy the armies of the living power?
When it really boils down to it, he was prophesying at this time.
Mm-hmm.
He was connected to the Most High, and he didn't have any fear. But you know what? He just didn't wake up out of nowhere, and all of a sudden, he didn't have no fear. Don't forget where he came from. Is he going to say it here? I don't think so. Let me see. Read on.
Verse 27. And the people answered him after this manner, saying, So shall it be done to the man that killeth him.
So they explain that if whoever kills this Philistine is going to get his family's going to be debt free. He's going to get his daughter. He's going to get riches. Read on.
And Eliab, his eldest brother, heard when he spake unto the men. And Eliab's anger was kindled against David. And he said, Why camest thou down hither?
Why'd you come down here? David's getting treated very much like Joseph got treated.
Yep.
Remember Joseph sat back here and said, I had a dream. At the 11th stars are going to pay obedience to me.
Yeah.
And the sun and the moon are going to sit back to it too. And then dad was like, oh, so you're going to say you're going to be over all of us? And then the sons want to kill him. Oh, the spirit's with you and not with me, huh? This is Eliab saying the same thing. Read on.
And with whom hast thou left those few sheep in the wilderness?
He's clowning. Right now, listen, man. So who's watching those little few sheep out there, right? You want to talk all this trash about how you big bad about to fight Goliath.
He downplayed.
Who's watching them baby sheep down there, man? They're 15 of them little sheep. Anyway, that's sibling jealousy and rivalry right there, bro, at its height. Read on.
I know thy pride and the naughtiness of thy heart.
So now the son is calling, the older son is calling David proud. And really, he's misunderstanding confidence with pride. He's misreading faith in the Most High with pride. Because a lot of times when a person is confident, it might come off like it's pride. But it's really a trust that the Most High is going to be there with him. Read on.
For thou art come down that thou mightest see the battle.
Mm-hmm.
And David said, What have I now done? Is there not a cause?
He says, so why are you sitting back here and attacking me like this? I'm just sitting back here with exuberance and confidence, thinks this guy can fall. I believe this dude can get broken. This is why are you attacking me? Just for me believing that this uncircumcised heathen doesn't deserve to stand for long. Because all the adults is like, look at this dude's armor. This dude's been fighting his whole life. How are we going to do this? They're looking at things carnally. David was looking at things spiritually. Read on.
Verse 30. And he turned from him toward another, and spake after the same manner. And the people answered him again after the former manner.
Mm-hmm. So what he's saying is David went to another group of people and asked them the same thing. Because obviously his brother Eliab was going to keep checking him. for asking that question. So he's left him and went to somebody else to kind of get the whole gravity of the situation. Read on.
And when the words were heard which David spake, they rehearsed them before Saul.
So now as they're telling David what is the bounty that's supposed to be for taking out Goliath, David's like, I can take this guy out. I can do it.
Yeah.
Now the word of one guy that can do it is spreading back to Saul. Read on.
And he sent for him. And David said to Saul, let no man's heart fail because of him. Thy servant will go and fight with the Philistines.
He said, don't worry about everybody else's heart. I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna take out this guy. Read on.
Verse 33. And Saul said to David, thou art not able to go against this Philistine to fight with him.
He said, you can't do this, man. Read on. He's trying. Listen, I don't want my one guy who can take these demons off of me.
No.
To die against this 9-foot, whatever the hell dude.
That's a fun situation.
I need this guy.
I need him. He's like, you can't do it. You're a young man, and you play expert harp, man. You sing and harp. I can't get the combination. Because you can have the harp with no voice, the demon ain't leaving. You can have the voice with no heart, the demon ain't leaving. I need you, David. You can't do this. But in the back of his mind,
I'm going to lose the kingdom.
I'm going to lose the kingdom. I'm going to look bad. I'm going to look bad. Looking bad was more important than him losing his number one harp guy.
Get no sleep.
Saul hated looking bad. You look through the history, he hated looking bad. He was the optics king.
He said, I'll deal with the demons then.
Exactly. That's what he's saying. And that's what he's saying. It's crazy. Read on.
For thou art but a youth, and he a man of war from his youth.
He said, this dude's been killing guys from the beginning. He's been breaking necks for years. You're bait. Read on.
And David said unto Saul, thy servant keep his father's sheep. And there came a lion and a bear and took a lamb out of the flock.
First of all, this is an aspect of why the Most High chose David in the first place. He said there was a lion and a bear and took a lamb out of the flock. So I'm imagining the lion and the bear made their move at different times. So he's bringing out two different accounts. But read on.
And I went out after him and smote him.
Stop. And I'm going to use my own little 2-cent story to kind of like bring some scale to this. I was in front of my house. My kids were younger. There was this little poodle dog that a guy was walking. Hey, little guy. And then some guy was driving by on my street. And he had a pit in the back of the car. And the window was open all the way. You can kind of see where this is going to go, right? So the guy is like, I think, if I'm not mistaken, no, he didn't know him. He didn't. The two guys one guy that was walking the dog, and the guy that was, they didn't know each other. But you're in a residential neighborhood, so you got to drive slow. So he's walking on my street. My house is right here, and he's driving slow. What do you think happens next? That pit bull jumped out the car and sunk his hardcore teeth into this little animal, and the shrieks I heard from this little dog. I'm like but I can't even shriek that high. He's like, and he was trying to move him around, and the guy that had the leash, he let the leash go. And I have my kids where you have to. You can't keep the leash. You don't give them a fighting chance. If a dog tries to come at your dog, you gotta let him go. Because if you hold him, now you're keeping them back from defensive fighting postures. You're really making the situation worse. So I got my young kids here, and I use that as a reason not to even engage in this shit. I sat back here and brought the kids, get back to your house, quick, stat, open that door, get it closed. But you know what? My question is this: if I didn't have my kids there, you think I'm sitting back here putting my hand into this damn pit bull's mouth? You better stop this animal. I'm like, shit. He gonna have to die tonight. It's his day to die. This poodle gotta go tonight.
Too late.
It's over. And that's the truth. There was not any instinct in me to do this. I was like, oh shit, he got caught slipping. I don't know what to tell you. This is a bad day for the poodle. But listen, why am I painting this picture? Because look how easy it could have been for a damn lion to come out the thicket or whatever the hell it is, and he takes a damn sheep. You know what? It was that sheep's day to die. You know what? I'll just go to the market and buy another sheep. It ain't that serious. Why are you risking your life for a stinking sheep?
I'll be in debt for a sheep. Then.
Listen, man, I owe him, man. My fault. Nobody can control that. But my point is the courageousness that he fought for a helpless sheep. It's most I like this. If this guy's going to risk his life fighting a bear, are you serious? Fighting a lion just for a sheep?
Right.
A same sheep that his brother just kind of clowned on about.
Right.
Oh, well, go ahead and cut it. This 15 this sheep and go back to them.
Right.
Because nobody valued these animals.
Yeah, I gotta read this too.
Man, that's crazy.
Romans chapter 5 verse 7. I'll just read it real quick.
Mm-hmm.
It says, "For scarcely for a righteous man will one die."
Let alone a damn sheep.
It says, "Yet peradventure for a good man, some would even dare to die." So even if it was a man getting mauled by a damn pit bull, you might still just be like, call the cops. Somebody call the cops.
Somebody call the cops.
Somebody call the cops, bro.
It's going to be too late by the time they get there. What the cops going to do? It's a DOA. It's dead. It's dead on arrival.
Run, bro, run. Down the tree.
Get out of there. That's what I'm saying. Oh, my goodness. That's the point. But David had the courage and the loving compassion to risk himself for a sheep. So the Most High is like, listen, if he has that kind of compassion for some animals, how much more would he do for my people? If he can sit back here and put himself on the line for an animal, and he showed this multiple times, then that's the guy I want leading my people.
It wasn't a fluke.
A lion and a bear? Because the thing is this, you gotta go into that interaction with the mindset that this is to the death. You think some lions is gonna let this shit stop? Let you take his dinner away? You ever see those animal shows act? You got one shot and you better get it, because this is dinner. This is difference between living and dying. So it ain't like this lion's gonna, oh, you took it from dinner. He gonna sit back and he gonna come back at you. So one thing is getting him out the way. The second thing is now you got an angry ass lion looking you right in the face, and you got to kill him. You got to put him down. Then you got a bear. Listen. I don't know if y'all ever saw that movie with it's called The Edge.
Yeah.
And it was many years ago. It was with Anthony Hopkins and Alec Baldwin. And they showed about the white man had all the answers. He had all the wisdom. And he sat back, he was in the woods with no weapons and killed a bear. That's not real.
He's a bad dude, though.
He's just a creative, sharp white man. He never been out in the woods, but he read books. And he used his book, Limitless Wisdom, to establish himself in a real life scenario. And then all the hunters in the area were like,
that's him!
And he walked around with the bear paw after we killed him. He was walking all victorious. Like, this is movies to the max. Point is, I have heard stories about bear attacks and they're not pretty.
You see one?
A bear hit you in the face, half your face is gone. There was a report that this guy and this woman were out in the woods, and the woman picked up a bear cub. Oh, it's a pretty little baby bear. And then that damn mama bear came out ready to go to war. So the husband was like, honey, I'll save you. And he sat back here and got her out the way. And the bear did this. What? And he said he saw his face hit the rocks. He saw his face. So his skin was gone. And his skin hit the riverbed. And he saw it. And the bear sat back here, buried him, took the cub, took the cub to safety. He was going to come back and do him in after the cub was brought to safety. And this is the damn kind of bear that David's taking out. You make one miscalculated move, your face is on the other side of the damn field. And they're fast as hell. You're not outrunning a bear. That's not happening.
Heavier than David.
Yes, heavier than anybody. Nobody's fighting bears and lions over a sheep, huh?
Yep.
It just shows the caliber of man David was.
Fearless.
And this is why he talked so confident. And this is why the brothers looked at him like he wasn't nothing.
But it wasn't pride. That's what the thing you brought out. It wasn't pride. It was courage. It was fortitude.
But people look at it. People look at confidence as pride sometimes. But Eliab and his brothers weren't there when they saw him take out the lion or bear.
That's what I'm saying. He didn't come back and boast about it or anything. They know.
Or he told him and they didn't believe him. You know how brothers are, right? Older brothers. You talk, yeah, guess what happened today at the mall? I don't hear that shit, man. That didn't happen. You're adding stuff to the story. Nobody's buying that, bro. You know how easy how big brothers can look at younger brothers that way? Or Joseph saying, oh man, the Most High is like the 11 stars and the 11 stars and the moon and the sun are gonna sit back here and serve me. I'll get out of here. Talking there's Joseph again, talking like he's something special. That's sibling rivalries to the T. So nobody respected or really saw how the Most High was working through it until he's in this situation right now. So we're showing everybody just didn't respect him and didn't respect the lessons the Most High taught him. Until all these lessons, fighting the lion, fighting the damn bear, and being victorious, all that matters in this situation. And the Most High just didn't stick him into a Goliath fight without training. He might not have the answers how to do it, but I know that he had the confidence that he fought ridiculous odds and overcame.
Through the Most High.
Through the Most High and his selflessness. If I can do this for my sheep, I can do it for the nation. I can take this uncircumcised damn heathen down. So let's keep going.
Verse 35. And I went out after him and smote him and delivered it out of his mouth. And when he arose against me, I caught him by his beard and smote him.
First of all, you're right in this damn lion's face. You're catching him by his mane? What the hell is going on?
They're quick, man.
They're quick as hell, and their paws are gonna knock you down. You got in. You know what he's showing you? He didn't javelin this damn animal. He didn't sniper him. He said, man, got in this lion's face and took him down. You know what kind of cojones you got to do that?
Straight in his face.
I got in his face and I killed him. What?
Grabbed him by his beard.
I know that. Like you ain't gonna get bit. Like he ain't gonna snap at you. That's amazing, guy. Whew. Damn, man, that's crazy. Listen, the beard sounds different than the mane. I'm in this guy's face,
Yeah.
I'm in his face. It wasn't like in the movie, I got behind him and I'm riding him like a horse. No, you got in this damn lion's mouth and you jugged him. After you got bit a little bit. Because ain't no fight once, ain't no cartoon fight where it's like, pyaw, pyaw, and no, you don't get no cuts. Listen, it ain't like that. You got cut and blooded up too, You didn't get no cuts? Bull. Anyway, keep going,
Verse 36. Thy servant slew both the lion and the bear.
Crazy, bro.
And this uncircumcised Philistine shall be as one of them.
He says they're going down. He's going down. Because I have the experience of the Most High with me these last 2 times. He ain't no different. Read on.
Seeing he had defied the armies of the living power.
This guy's talking trash about the armies of the Most High. Read on.
David said moreover, the Lord that delivered me out of the paw of the lion and out of the paw of the bear, he will deliver me out of the hand of this Philistine.
And this is why it's so important for Israel to hold on to their spiritual victories to maintain confidence. You're supposed to remember the time you left your city and the Most High was with you.
Yep. Because you need that lesson to catapult you to the next lesson.
You're supposed to remember the last time that you hit the wall and your faith was tested. This ain't the first time your faith got tested. You've been having faith tests for a long time if you've been the truth for a certain period of time. You've been hitting these faith walls for a minute now. Do you remember the last time the Most High came through? Because we be forgetting that.
Yep.
So it's our job to remember when the Most High was there for us. Because you're going to need that courage for the next lion in your life, the next bear in your life, or the next giant in your life. You're going to have to hold on to your spiritual accomplishments. You got to remember them. If you got to write them down. If you got to think about it all the time, But when we Israelites, I got no confidence. I don't believe in I don't believe in what I'm doing. I'm just not confident. I'm so scared. Have you forgotten where the Most High has taken you from? We have to remember where the Most High has taken us from, and the state we were in just 2 years ago, just 3 years ago, just 6 months ago. Are you acknowledging the Most High has been with you and He's bringing you to higher conditions? And then when you get put in a lower state, do you remember? Okay, I wasn't here. I wasn't always in this low position. This is a test. Remember, wasn't the early part of the class about not losing disposition, right? Not changing your normal tendencies because of the estate that you're in. This is another test for the Most High, from the Most High to David. David still had to maintain his disposition, and this is showing him he's not deviating from his disposition. The same position he had as a shepherd, he's the same guy when he was the harper. He's the same guy. If he's not, he's gonna be the warrior. He'll be the same guy when he's the king. The Most High wants to see that faithfulness. Faithfulness means dependency, consistency. That was it.
And in John 10:11, Christ says, "I am the good shepherd. The good shepherd giveth his life for the sheep."
Come.
So that's what makes Christ the good shepherd, is the fact that he puts himself in uncomfortable positions for the sake of everybody else.
Come.
And that's what the Most High is looking at for leaders. You know, are you going to choose your own safety? Are you going to choose your own comfort, your own, satisfaction? Or are you willing to endanger yourself, put yourself in uncomfortable, vulnerable positions for the sake of preserving the flock of the Most High? You know what I'm saying? So there's a difference.
So am I going to be picking up the heaviest boxes or the lightest ones?
Right.
Exactly. Most work to the least. Yeah.
Exactly. And also for people for movie people, I rarely use movie examples. I'm bad at those. But Nino Brown, everybody remember Nino Brown from New Jack City? Remember that? And then they were shooting the wedding.
We really have to bring more updated movies.
I watch a lot of movies.
This is old. This is
my
Nino
last
Brown,
time.
bro.
This is the last time I
was
used
the
a minute
80s,
for. It was good though. Listen.
Christopher Williams was like hot back in those days.
He grabbed a little girl.
I'm dreaming. What? Anyway, I'm sorry.
He grabbed a little girl.
I'm guilty of that too.
And he used her as a human shield.
Yeah.
Y'all remember that period? Mm-hmm. That's the complete opposite of a good leader. He would put himself in front of these bullets. This dude's taking a little girl and using the little girl as a human shield. It just shows the difference in thought pattern.
God.
All right, but I'm not using no more movie right now.
No, listen.
I don't watch enough movies to say that.
I'm not saying that to knock at you. I bring out some old stuff too.
I don't watch enough movies.
I'm really old out here talking about some 80s.
Batman's coming out. This came out.
I said earlier about like Scarface and Manolo. I'm like, damn, that was 80s too. That's 83.
Yeah.
Anyway, you gotta tighten up.
Yeah.
I want to go to Josephus real quick.
Yeah.
It's still book 6. It is chapter 9. And it is paragraph. It's the end of 2 and 3.
Book 6, chapter 9.
It's the end of 2 where it says, "O king, be not cast down." Can you find that for me?
Yes, sir.
Cool.
O king, be not cast down, nor afraid, for I will depress the insolence of this adversary. Sorry. For I will depress the insolence of this adversary, and will go down and fight with him, and I will bring him under me, as tall and as great as he is, till he shall be sufficiently laughed at. And thy army shall get great glory when he shall be slain by the one that is not yet of man's estate.
And he said, listen, he says the army is going to attain glory. He was able to sit back here with a positive speech. Says the army is going to attain great glory when this dude is beat by a guy who's not even of age yet. I'm going to whip his ass, and everybody's going to sit back here and look at y'all like the Most High's with y'all. And the army is going to get the glory. Read on. But see, the truth is this. It wasn't just talk. He believed it. He was able to do great works and not insert himself like it was him that did the great works.
Which is important.
Can we sit back here and do great works in the Most High and only acknowledge that we were vessels for the Most High to get his job done through?
That's true.
Can you sustain that? Can you have that? Can you learn that mentality? That yes, great works might be done through your hands, but it's really the Most High flowing through you. And can you be that vessel the Most High uses to get great things done without taking the credit for the great things that were done? That's what it takes to stay humble and to stay in the right spirit. Read on.
Neither fit for fighting, nor capable of being entrusted with the marshaling an army, or ordering a battle, but by one that looks like a child.
He said, this child that's not capable yet of running an army, ordering and putting a group into battle, I'm going to get him. Read on.
But by one that looks like a child, and is really no elder in age than a child.
God. Read on.
Now Saul wondered at the boldness of alacrity of David.
Alacrity. What is wonder? It wasn't like he was like in a negative outlook towards it. He was like, man, he was amazed at this guy's alacrity. He was amazed at his boldness and his confidence, to the where he wasn't doubting the fact that he was confident enough to do it. He just was unsure about his physical body. He saw still about the body and the flesh, huh? Listen, I'm convinced that you're spiritually ready to go to war, but I don't think you got the physical attributes to get it done. Because Saul kept looking at things from the outer perspective.
That's why he wouldn't go and fight himself.
Exactly. Because he didn't have it on the inside either, or the outer. He was only confident because he was the biggest guy in the room. Now all that height don't mean nothing because you're not the biggest guy. So now this guy is small, he's young, his confidence and faith is out of this world. But read on.
But durst not presume on his ability.
He says, I'm not going to sit back here and question your ability or your confidence. Read on.
By reason of his age. But said, he must on that account be too weak to fight with one that is skilled in the art of war.
He just said, you're not strong enough. And in his mind, he couldn't see how a person as physically deficient as David in comparison to Goliath would be able to win. Because his whole life he looked at things in a carnal perspective. Read on.
I undertake this enterprise, said David, in dependence on the Most High being with me. For I have had experience already of his assistance.
Like Dawiah said, I have experiences where the Most High's had me against these difficult odds. I've seen it a bunch of times. The Most High was with me when I was the underdog, when I was underestimated. Read on.
For I once pursued after and caught a lion that assaulted my flock.
So first of all, the lion snatched the damn sheep and ran off, and he went into his arena to take him down. Golly, read on.
And took away a lamb from them, and I snatched he said them. And took away a lamb from them. Is this just the Josephus saying that?
Let's read it again. Let's double check. For I once pursued
after and caught a lion that assaulted my flocks, and took away a lamb from them.
Now listen. Do lions fight just alone, or do they have partners with them?
They run in packs.
Right.
They hunt in packs, huh? So you're chasing this animal, and there's other lions around him.
I want that lamb too, huh?
Listen, I get that, but now you're fighting a couple of lions, huh? Now you're fighting a 2 or 3 eye. It didn't say he killed 2 or 3, but just imagine the odds and the fear that'll rush through you. I'm gonna chase this lamb into a den of lions. Even if you just took one of the courage and the faith you had to have, right?
You can watch a video of these little Africans stealing meat from hungry lions, and it's a video on YouTube. It's 3 of them, and they're about 100 pounds apiece, and they got 3 spears in their hand, and all the lions are mauling this buffalo. It's like 8 of them, and they mauling them, just ripping them. And these 3 men come out the bush.
Yeah, I saw that.
But they approach the lions, and then they talk about, they narrate the story as they're going, because they speak that African language. They narrate the story, but they talking about that we got to move as one. We got to move as a unit, and we can't show no fear because the lions pick up fear. So they approach the lions while they're eating and ripping this bison up, and then the lions one by one start running off. And then they come in, they cut a big old leg off a big old giant leg.
Brontosaurus burger.
They throw the leg on the shoulder, and then they walk off and they get back to their little village and they cooking the bison leg over the fire, and then they laughing. They're laughing about it because they're talking about the lions didn't know they got tricked But the narrator, you know, the white man narrated. He says that the lions.
Was it English?
Yeah, Englishman. He said eventually they'll know that it was a bluff. They're not, you know what I'm saying? And they'll come back and come back. He said they knew. He said you got to move fast because the lions will know these guys are just bluffing us. You know what I'm saying? So, flim flam. We got took. You know, but they talk about the fact that you can't have fear because the lions pick up the fear. So it just showing you David approached these lions with no fear because the animals can smell that.
And then after that, he actually grabbed the lion by his beard and killed him. That alone, listen, that let him know there ain't no fear. I'm gonna at you right in the face, and I'm gonna kill you. And if there's two other ones, they're like, this guy is for real. We're gonna leave now, and that's it.
That's like he was ready to kill those ones too.
I know they probably got out of there, but that's phenomenal. That is, listen, I don't know what to say. That's amazing. But keep going.
And I snatched the lamb out of the wild beast's mouth, and when he leaped upon me with violence, I took him by the tail and dashed him against the ground.
Wait a minute. So the lion leaped on him. He jumped on him. Once he got the sheep out the way, this lion jumps on him. And he catches him obviously by the damn mane. Does whatever he has to do with him, and he says he took his tail. Read that part again. I took him by the tail. Read on.
I took him by the tail and dashed him against the ground.
Listen, David had to be strong enough to do that, to pull that off. Shit, keep going.
In the same manner did I avenge myself on a bear also, and let this adversary of ours be esteemed like one of these wild beasts, since he has a long while reproached our army and blasphemed our power.
Just like Shamshawan was saying earlier about how as he was talking trash to the army, he was blaspheming the Most High and saying, where's your God now? Who's going to protect you? Who's going to watch out for you? I'm right here and nobody want this smoke. Read on.
Who yet will reduce him under my power?
Whew. Read the beginning of paragraph 4.
However, Saul prayed that the end might be, by the Most High's assistance, not disagreeable to the alacrity and boldness of the child.
So he had a connection, he had a relationship with him. He's like, I'm scared.
I'm scared. I'm praying that this kid, it can work out. But he could have said, let me do it, man. I ain't going to let you suffer yourself. He still could have did it, If he really cared about the boy, why don't you go do it? He's like, let the boy try. But keep going now.
And said, go that way to the fight. So he put about him his breastplate and girded on his sword, and fitted the helmet to his head, and sent him away. But David was burdened with his armor.
Listen, if you know that the dude is a teenager, why you gonna put all this heavy armor on him? That's for the biggest man. Listen, this helmet is for the biggest man in Israel. He has the biggest head in Israel, and you gonna put it on David, a teenager? He's the tallest man in the nation. So how is this gonna fit for this young man? Don't forget, he stood a head taller over everybody. So you got a teenager, you gonna put your war stuff on this kid? That doesn't even make sense. Anyway, read on. Now let this go back in the scriptures. Let's go back in the scriptures for now. We're at 17 and
37.
Let's do 36 again.
Verse 36. Thy servant slew both the lion and the bear, and this uncircumcised Philistine shall be as one of them, seeing he had defied the armies of the living God, or the living power. David said, moreover, the Lord that delivered me out of the paw of the lion and out of the paw of the bear, he will deliver me out of the hand of this Philistine. And Saul said unto David, go, and the Lord be with thee. And Saul armed David with his armor, and he put an helmet of brass upon his head. Also, he armed him with a coat of mail.
That didn't fit him. Read on.
Heavy mail, too.
Yeah.
And David girded his sword upon his armor, and he essayed to go, for he had not proven it.
So he wasn't comfortable going to war in this armor because he hadn't practiced with it. Read on.
And David said unto Saul, I cannot go with these, for I have not proven them. And David put them off him. And he took his staff in his hand, and chose him 5 smooth stones out of the brook, and put them in a shepherd's bag, which he had, even in a scrip. And this sling was in his hand. And he drew near to the Philistine. And the Philistine came on and drew near unto David. And the man that bare the shield went before him.
So that must have been a heavy ass shield that he had. For him, one man had to carry it. Read on.
And when the Philistine looked about and saw David, he disdained him, for he was but a youth and ruddy and of a fair countenance.
You gonna bring this pretty boy here to fight me out? This is a disgrace. Where are your warriors? Remember your warriors. I want a challenge.
And you know what distinguishes youth from being a man is a beard.
Yeah.
And David had this clean face, man. He had a
baby face.
Baby face, man. He was smooth.
So this guy like, how this after 40 days, I'm waiting 4 days for this act. This is the best you got? Y'all are a bunch of you know what you gotta bring a kid up here to fight y'all battles?
Peach fuzz, they come out.
That's hilarious. It was peach fuzz. Peach fuzz there. Like y'all sent him after 40 days? Y'all ain't nothing. Y'all chumps. Y'all suckers. You know that's what he was saying, huh?
Yeah, he was
Read on, huh?
And the Philistine said unto David, Am I a dog that thou comest to me with staves?
Mm-hmm.
And the Philistine cursed David by his gods.
Because it was, in his eyes, it was a total form of disrespect to bring this young guy here with some damn rocks. Read on.
And the Philistine said to David,
You ever seen those damn, you know those slingshots where you put it on your wrist? It's like mechanical, and it goes right here, like,
yeah.
You gonna bring some damn? That's not how it was. I'm not saying it was some mechanical thing. It was even worse. It was even more medieval. It was this left hand.
It was a sling.
It was a sling. Yeah. You bringing this up here? Are you serious? Read on.
And the Philistine said to David, Come to me, and I will give thy flesh unto the fowls of the air, and to the beasts of the field.
He's talking a lot of talk. Read on.
Then said David to the Philistine, Thou comest to me with a sword, and with a spear, and with a shield. But I come to thee in the name of the Lord of hosts, the power of the armies of Israel, whom thou hast defied.
So listen, he came into that battle with total confidence in the Heavenly Father. And it showed you how David's viewpoint was spiritual and Saul's was always numbers, amounts of people, size. That's how he established his confidence. And David's confidence was in the battles that he overcame using the Most High's method and mindset. Read on.
This day will the Lord deliver thee into mine hands, and I will smite thee, and take thy head from thee, and I will give the carcasses of the host of the Philistine this day unto the fowls of the air, and to the wild beasts of the earth, that all the earth may know that there is a power in Israel. And all this assembly shall know that the Lord saveth not with sword or spear, for the battle is the Lord's, and he will give you into our hands.
Yeah, that's a great point.
Yeah.
He's always acknowledging before he never changed that method of thinking.
Yep.
He always said before his battles, shall I go to Ramoth Gilead? Shall I go fight this war? What shall I do? Let's go ask the Ark of the Covenant. Let's go deal with the priest. Okay, the battle is the Lord's. He looked at every battle he had in his life. It was the Most High's battle. It was an opportunity to bring the Most High glory. Do we look at our battles the same way? If I overcome this battle, this is an opportunity to prove that the Most High is the power of all powers, to give him glory. His whole intention was not just a carnal intention. It was a spiritual intention. That's why the Most High defended him. So we go into battles, and we have the strongest spiritual intentions, that's our confidence the Most High will be with us.
That's Psalms 94:16. Read that real quick. Psalms 94:16.
Psalms chapter 94 and verse 16. Who will rise up for against me, the evildoers?
Read it again.
Who will rise up for against me?
Against me.
Who will rise up for me against the evildoers?
The Most High is asking, who's going to rise up for me against who?
The evildoers.
That's the Most High. That question still remains acknowledgeable today. The Most High is still looking for individuals that are willing to rise up for Him against the evildoers and the workers of iniquity. The Most High is still looking for people that have that disposition, that frame of mind that David has. He's still looking for those that look at every battle as, I'm representing the Most High. I'm representing the Most High in Christ. And if you got an issue with that, then I have an issue with you. Read on.
Or who will stand up for me against the workers of iniquity?
And the Most High still wants us to answer that same question. We got to answer that call. That's a call to duty. That is a call to duty. To represent the Most High at all costs, no matter what. Even if nobody else wants to step up to the battle to be an Israelite, even if being an Israelite is uncomfortable, even being an Israelite is not famous, it is not the cool thing to do, are you willing to still step up and represent the Most High against the workers of iniquity? You're going to look uncool. You're going to look, there's going to be some embarrassment behind it. Or you might be alone. All your friends might be living their life. But the Most High still wants to answer the answer to that question to this day. All right? Go ahead. Let that go.
Okay. So what I want real quick is to go back to the Josephus, because we're going to finish up on 1 Samuel 17, but I want to go to Josephus, book 6, chapter 9, the bottom of paragraph 4. The bottom of paragraph 4, specifically it is, thou comest to me with the sword.
187.
So listen, we just skipped in the Josephus everything we read with that back and forth dialogue between the Goliath side, where Goliath was talking and cursing David and the Most High. Now we're back at where David was communicating back with Goliath. Read on.
Is it book 6, chapter 9?
Yeah. Book 6, chapter 9, paragraph 4, the bottom of it.
And line 187.
Yeah, okay. Sorry, page.
Page 165.
You said 190?
187.
The paragraph.
To whom David answered, Thou comest to me with the sword, and with the spear, and with the breastplate, but I have the Most High for my armor in coming against thee. Who will destroy thee, and all thy army by my hands? For I will this day cut off thy head, and cast the other parts of my body to the dogs.
Of thy body.
Of thy body, Slaki. And all men shall learn that the Most High is the protector of the Hebrews.
So he was looking for the moral victory.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of times we do it's about, are you getting the moral victory?
Kind of.
There has to be a moral victory.
Or the moral lesson. What's the Most High trying to teach me in this situation?
God.
How can I take this experience that I'm going through and look at it spiritual? What is the Most High teaching me in this difficult, crazy set of circumstances? Because if you can't find a way to spiritually find the lesson, it's harder to accomplish what you're trying to accomplish. So David was like, I'm not going to make it about me fighting this guy. I'm not going to make it about me fighting this big guy. This guy represents the gods of the nations are greater than the Most High. This guy represents shame and honor to the nation of Israel. I got to take this guy out, because in taking him down, it glorifies the Heavenly Father. That's the mindset that you have to embark when you're going into any battle. Can I look at it spiritually? And by me doing these actions, it represents a standard or a step I'm taking to uplift the Heavenly Father.
God.
To put him first.
We're promoting the Father, or we're not.
Kind. But let's keep going.
Is that why he was told before that he was going to beat the Philistines?
I think it was a reminder. But don't forget, Saul was told he was supposed to lead, and his family was going to lead in perpetuity. Saul was told by Samuel to wait to the end of the day, on the 7th day, and I'll be there. But I only bring it up because some people are given orders they don't follow. Other people are told things are going to happen, and they take that counsel and they hold on to it. You know what I'm saying? Different people can get different type of counsel. A person can hear the same counsel, and another person can interpret it a different way. A person can sit back here and be told this is the right way to do things, but when you go home, you convince yourself it's not. Yes, sir?
Would that be like, I'm receiving the counsel from you, but I know you're a messenger. I know the counsels come from the Most High. So in not doing that, I'm rejecting the Father.
Or I'll sit back here and listen to the counsel, and I'll say, you know what? I know he told me this, but what's his ulterior motive?
Following his own.
And because that's where a person will go once they receive counsel also.
You know why? Because it's cognitive dissonance. I don't want to accept the idea. Listen, if I don't accept something, I'm not going to hear that out.
You're going to create a false narrative.
I'm going to tell myself what I want to hear. If ain't nobody going to be the guy to tell me that, I'm going to tell myself.
Done. It's no different than the Most High told Samuel to tell Saul to take out these Amalekites, take them all out in the city I told you to do it. He convinced himself it didn't have to be that way.
No, I just kill them as sacrifices versus killing them here.
And I can keep Agag with me. He's still in subjection, but I can use his resources and whatever he brings to the table to elevate the empire.
And by changing the counsel, it shows we're not having confidence in the Father. That's why changing the counsel is such a bad thing. It's just showing Most High I'm not confident in you.
God. And this is the whole point. David took counsel, was advised that he was going to defeat the Philistines, was advised that he was going to be the king, and he took it to heart. And you know what it was? It was confirmation of the mindset he was already trying to go. Because if you really, when you're getting counsel, you have to ask yourself, half about what counsel is about, half of what counsel is about is the mindset you're in. How many times have you told brothers and sisters and gave them counsel, but they weren't in a fighting spirit enough to receive the counsel? So you'll give a counsel until you're blue in the face, until they're ready to be in the spirit of fighting their battles, they're not going to listen to it. And then when they hit rock bottom, then they want to hear about the Most High's plans. Then they want to hear about counsel. Yeah. And so then the message you bring to the table actually resonates and sticks.
Because you're giving them the same message until they accept.
Until they're ready to choose, I'm going to fight. So the thing is this, everything that Samuel said was going to happen to him, he was already in the mindset ready to receive that process. He could see himself fighting the Philistines for the Most High. He could see himself living righteously. He was already ready to do that. So the counsels were confirmations. If I'm trying to fight my battle and my counsel is telling me to fight my battle, then guess what? That's the Spirit telling me I got to do it.
That confirmation, it gives you that much more courage.
But you have to be looking. You have to be in the mindset willing to fight the battles anyway. Because if you're not going to believe what's being told to you.
Then you'll water down the effect of your counsel.
Because you'll do it different. You'll deviate.
You'll deviate, and then so the effect that you want from the counsel, then the person will come back and say, well, I tried what you said, it didn't work.
Yes.
That happens a lot.
And you dipped your pinky toe in the water. Hey, it's cold.
Yeah.
It's chilly.
That's why I said, and that spirit was with him from that day forward. Because he actually decided to keep that spirit on him.
Yes, but he chose to keep it. Because don't forget, Saul was prophesying too. Didn't it say Saul was numbered with the prophets?
It says Saul numbered among the prophets.
So you can get the spirit of the Most High, but you got to choose to feed it and maintain it.
Like I said, make class.
The bear wolf analogy,
that bear wolf, that candle, whatever you want to do.
Like Beowulf.
I know.
Are you feeding the right? Are you feeding the right spirit in yourself?
Yes. Yeah. There we go. So let's continue.
And that our armor and our strength is in His providence.
Come.
And that without the Most High's assistance, all other warlike preparations and power are useless.
He says, without the Most High's assistance, all other warlike preparations and power are useless. You can sit back here and be the biggest, best master planner to overcome and take over the world act. You can prep. You can be limitless. You can be this great mind. But if you don't have the Most High's assistance, nothing matters. And it's important that David brought that out, because David was already mentally keen. He was already sharp-sighted, right? He was already an intelligent cat. He was already a talented person. And he understood from youth, you can be as talented as all get out. If you don't have the Most High behind you, nothing that you create from your hand is going to sustain. And that's how a person who has a lot of abilities has to function. It doesn't matter how sharp you are, how thorough of a thinker you are. If the Most High ain't backing you, your little thorough plans will still backfire on you.
Numbers don't matter.
Numbers don't matter. Intelligence doesn't matter. Skill doesn't matter. Now, skill with humility, you can get a lot done. But skill with no consciousness of the Heavenly Father, you're limited. Yes, sir.
Proverbs 21:31. I'll read it real fast.
Okay.
Proverbs 21:31. The horse is prepared against the day of battle, but safety is of the Lord.
That's perfect. The Most High protects. You can get all the horses and chariots you want. He protects. Continue.
So the Philistine, being retarded by the weight of his armor.
So this Goliath being slowed down by how heavy, I explained how cumbersome this damn stuff was. 100 pounds on your chest, 30 on your neck, probably 50 on your head, 25 on your ankles. You're moving slow. So if it's in a one-on-one mano thing, you might catch him. But you stick and move, you have a problem. Read on.
When he attempted to meet David in haste, came on but slowly, as despising him, and depending upon it that he should slay him who was both unarmed and a child also, without any trouble at all.
He didn't think it through. He was into his flesh and just thought it was flesh on flesh, he'd win. But this line really hit me. Read paragraph 5.
But the youth met his antagonist, being accompanied by
Read it, slow down, read again.
But the youth met his antagonist, being accompanied with an invisible assistant.
Listen, but the youth met his antagonist, being accompanied with an invisible assistant.
Wow.
You know, this really hit me, because how do you earn gaining an invisible assistant in your life? You know how do you earn the privilege to have an invisible assistant? You have to be conscious of the invisible assistant when it doesn't benefit you, to earn the invisible assistant when you need him. That makes sense? If you're not conscious of the invisible assistant when he wants you to be conscious of him, why do you expect this invisible assistant to be there when you want him? David has shown a pattern of putting the Most High first, character-wise, piety-wise, fortitude-wise, being challenged with his disposition-wise. And because whenever he was challenged to choose the Most High and the right disposition based on what he was going through, that earned the Most High to sit back here and be that invisible assistant when he needed it. The problem is we think we get to earn this invisible assistant just because we show up. You earn the invisible assistant when you're alone and you choose the invisible assistant. Where's that verse in Philippians? It's Philippians 2 and 12.
And that's faith. That's what faith is all about.
1:20.
Because it says, without faith, it is impossible to please the Most High. So how do you exercise faith to get the Most High's assistance?
Well, this is Philippians 2 and 12. It goes back with what you're both saying. Philippians 2 and 12. I want to get it real quick. Philippians chapter 2, verse 12.
Come.
Philippians chapter 2 and verse 12. Wherefore, my beloved, as ye have always obeyed, not as in my presence only, but now much more in my absence, work out your own salvation with fear and trembling.
Your salvation is based upon how you're conscious of the Most High when nobody's watching. And how I carry myself and how I maintain my disposition when nobody is watching determines my salvation. It determines how the Most High is going to send his invisible assistant when you need it. Are you going to sit back here and choose the invisible power when he wants it? That's the catch. You're not going to get this invisible help and consideration if you're not putting the work in every day to put that invisible power first in your life by maintaining that consciousness of the Heavenly Father. Because if I maintain that consciousness of the Most High, now I'm bringing this invisible power to life. So if I want that protection, put the work when the battle isn't there, to justify that help when you really need it.
In secrecy, I will reward thee openly.
God. Exactly. Where is that verse?
That's Matthew chapter 6.
Yeah.
When he's talking about when thou doest thine alms,
Mm-hmm.
it said, do it in the secret. It said, for the Heavenly Father which seeth in secret shall reward thee openly.
When you really need it. And then that invisible power comes through when you really need it. So can I keep investing spiritual fortitude, positive disposition, acceptance of where the Most High is taking me, and keep investing that into that spiritual bank so that when you need it, He comes through for you? This is how it works. How do I show the Most High that I'm ready? Is when I get weak, when I want to quit, when I want to give into my flesh, I choose the opposite. And the scripture says, clean hands make the man stronger and stronger. So the more you do that, the more you're investing into that spiritual bank, to where the Most High will keep bringing that invisible assistant to come through and help you. That's the play. That's how it works.
Top of scripture?
Yeah.
Romans 1 and 20. I'll read it. I already have it. Romans 1 and 20. For the invisible things of Him from the creation of the world are clearly seen, being understood by the things that are made, even His eternal power and Godhead, so that they are without excuse. Meaning what? The invisible things are clearly seen if you're really paying attention. You can see the Most High operating through the earth, operating through the political realm,
in our life.
operating in our life. People getting in car accidents and not dying, people getting hurt and coming and their bodies being repaired. Families that should be getting sick, not getting sick, or people that are sick getting well. Right? The Most High maintaining you in hard times.
Yeah, is that Romans?
Yeah, Romans 1 and 20.
Could you read Romans 11 and 2 also?
Romans 11 and 2.
Mm-hmm.
I'm getting it right now.
I got it.
Go for it.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Romans chapter 11 and verse 2. The Most High had not cast away His people.
And if you look at how the Most High has operated, even though He's been invisible, that doesn't mean He's not there. Even though we don't see Him physically with the naked eye, it doesn't mean the Most High doesn't exist. And although our enemies have most definitely made a laughing stock out of us and put us in a low state, that doesn't mean the Most High has forgotten His people. And even in situations, you got to remember, in the worst case situations, you got to remember that the Most High didn't cast us away. Read on.
Which He foreknew.
Go ahead.
What ye not what the scripture said about Elijah?
Go ahead.
How he maketh intercession.
It says the Most High does what?
Maketh intercession.
The Most High maketh intercession. The Most High does come through for you. That's that gaining that invisible assistance is when the Most High He makes intercession with you. Read on.
How He maketh intercession to the Most High against Israel.
Go ahead.
Saying, Lord, they have killed thy prophet.
And this one Elijah thought he was by himself. He thought he was alone. He thought he had to go in a cave. Read on.
And dig down thine altars.
Go ahead.
And I am left alone.
Read on.
And they seek my life.
Read on.
But what saith the answer of the Most High unto him?
But what did the Most High respond to him? By saying what?
I have reserved to myself 7,000 men.
So what you don't know and what you don't see is that I already got men ready to fight the battle, to help you. It's not you're not always going to be at a loss. The Most High said, "Oh, I got people set up that you didn't even know that's going to be fighting this battle with you. I got spirits there for assistance that you had no idea were around you." That's why He says, "Don't you understand? I got 7,000 that did what?
Who have not bowed the knee to the image of Baal."
So what is He showing Elijah? You're not alone. You're not by yourself. Even though you don't see the assistance, you don't see the help that I got around you, it's there. Even if you don't see it. That's how the Most High deals with it. We got to believe that. We got to believe that in the worst case scenarios. Even when we feel like there is no help or that there is no assistance. That the Most High is there as that invisible assistance.
But He is. But I just want to bring out, you have to earn that assistance. You have to earn that consistent assistance. Don't forget, when we sat back here and was breaking the laws of the Most High, what did He do? 2 Kings 17, He turned His back on us. Him turning His back on us meant He allowed all the negative spirits to sit back here and attack us. And take us to all these different negative situations in our life. When we're sitting back here, when you get that assistance, you have to earn it. You have to earn it by being conscious of the invisible power. You want that invisible power's help? Can you sit back here and be conscious that He's looking at you and His eyes are 10,000 times brighter than the sun, observing our decisions? If I can sit back here and maintain a pure consciousness of Him, then I'll get Him to be that invisible power when I need Him. So, Read paragraph 5 again. I don't know. I think Jeriah's in the restroom. I'll read it. Paragraph 5, the top.
First Samuel?
No, Antiquities.
I got it right here.
Okay.
It says, but the youth met his antagonist being accompanied with an invisible assistant.
But he earned that invisible assistant. Read on.
Who was not other than the Most High himself.
Powerful. Read on.
And taking one of the stones that he had out of the brook, and had put it into his shepherd's bag, and fitting it to his sling, he slang it against the Philistine. The stone fell upon his forehead and sank into his brain, insomuch that Goliath was stunned and fell upon his face.
So he was knocked out. He wasn't dead yet. He was knocked out, and the Most High allowed that though to be perfect. He allowed it to be perfect to where he had obviously had a significant concussion.
And you know what? He only put 5 stones in his bag.
Yeah.
So that means he had 5 shots.
He had 5 shots, and that's it.
That's
exactly.
It.
And the Most High made it work the first time.
He said, Lord, you got to come through in one of these 5.
Exactly.
One of these 5 got to be the one.
You know, that also shows sometimes when you're having to deal with something in the spirit, you just got to go get what you got to get and go, man. You can't overthink it. Either the Most High is with you or he's not. Go make it happen. The Most High is going to sit back here and come through for you. Okay? So, let's keep going.
You're in line,
Jeriah.
190?
190. Yeah, 190.
So David ran and stood upon his adversary. So David ran and stood upon his adversary as he laid down, and cut off his head with his own sword.
He knew he didn't have that much time. He hurried and got that sword and hacked his head off. Read on.
For he had no sword himself. And upon the fall of Goliath...
Hold that. We're going to go back in the scriptures to finish it off. And then come back and finish this off. So we're at 1 Samuel 17, verse... I guess we're at...
49?
We're that deep? We did that deep in?
Yeah, 49.
Yeah, you're right. Read verse 49.
1 Samuel chapter 17, verse 49. And David put his hand in his bag, and took thence a stone, and slang it, and smote the Philistine in his forehead, that the stone sunk into his forehead.
Which means it hit his brain. Read on.
And he fell upon his face to the earth.
Concussion. Knocked out. Read on.
So David prevailed over the Philistine with a sling and with a stone, and smote the Philistine and slew him. But there was no sword in the hand of David.
So he took the sword from obviously the Philistine and hacked him out. Read on.
Therefore David ran and stood upon the Philistine, and took his sword, and drew it out of the sheath thereof, and slew him, and cut off his head therewith. And when the Philistines saw their champion was dead, they fled.
Hold on, see, they didn't stick to the deal. The Philistines said, if our champion goes, we go into slavery.
Right.
And we'll submit ourselves here. So they was deal breakers. They didn't want to sit back here and honor their part of the deal. They were supposed to sit back and submit themselves.
No.
They didn't.
He said it, we didn't.
And this is my bag too. I didn't read. We didn't even read 48. It says, and it came to pass when the Philistine arose and came and drew nigh to meet David, that David hasted and ran toward the army to meet the Philistine.
Damn, listen, there was no hesitation. He ran right at this guy. There was no fear.
He's running and swinging the sling at the same time.
Skill,
That's crazy.
That's skill.
You know, we just read the opening part for the movie Troy, right?
Yeah. Bragrius.
This Troy.
Yeah.
The
Bragrius was way bigger than what's his name? Achilles. Yeah, I thought about that. Bragrius. It's just all yoked and swole out. He gets taken out in one hit right in his neck area. Fight was over. Everybody was hyped. He was like, oh. Yeah. ain't no more bloodshed. That's it. That was it. It was anticlimactic, so to speak. But this kid is running. What's that?
They were all like, what the hell just happened?
Exactly. Because everybody was like chomping their swords all damn. This was for hours. And then all of a sudden, he is beaten. But even in this situation, but the Philistines are like, we're getting the hell out of here. We're going to break this treaty. We out. Ain't nobody going to slavery, nothing. But keep going back. I think we're at 52.
Verse 52. And the men of Israel and of Judah arose and shouted and pursued the Philistines.
You know, I just want to make sure I bring this out. Verse 52 was already showing you, and I mentioned it before in Samuel, that there was already a split with shit. Honestly, it was like really the 10.5 tribes in Judah. It was just Judah was always mentioned separate of all the other tribes. Huh? It's crazy. It's constant. It's Judah, and it's the other tribes. It's Israel, Judah, and Israel. It was always separate. It was always contention, but amongst the tribes.
And this was before the split.
And it was even. And the funny thing is, Benjamin was with the 9.5 at this time. They were linked in and locked in with all the other 9.5 tribes, right? Because Benjamin and Saul had the connections and affiliations with all the other 9.5 tribes. It's what it was. So anyway, so it's all the Israelites and Judah sat there here and started chasing the Philistines. Read on.
Until thou come to the valley and to the gates of Ekron.
Now everybody got confidence. Now all them dudes that was running scared for 40 days, now all of a sudden they feel that boost in adrenaline. Now we can fight them now. Now that 9 foot is gone, we gonna win. Read on.
And the wounded of the Philistines fell down by the way to Sha'araim, even unto Gath and to Ekron.
Gath and Ekron were 2 of the 5 major Philistine cities. So they ran them back into their hometown from the Judite land all the way to their land. Now we know that Judah was positioned right next to the Philistines. So they got the hell out of Dodge, went back to their cities for safety. Read on.
And the children of Israel returned from chasing after the Philistines, and they spoiled their tents.
So everybody got paid, everybody got some money, everybody got some bread in their pocket.
Oh man!
They gotta make sure they explain that. Everybody got paid.
Get what you want.
Yeah. Well, they had to divvy it up in rank and order, but everybody got paid. Read on.
And David took the head of the Philistine and brought it to Jerusalem, but he put his armor in his tent.
Listen. I guess he kept the armor for himself. That was his trophy. But the head goes to the people. They can sit back. This big 9 foot dude is over. But I'm keeping all that. I'm keeping all these. This is proof that I took this guy down.
Just like the
It's like that bear. It was like that claw I was telling you about in that movie, The Edge. It's proof that I did it. But keep going.
And when Saul saw David go forth against the Philistine, he said unto Abner, the captain of the host.
You're like, who is this dude, man? What the hell's going on? This dude took him out? Read on.
Abner, whose son is this youth?
Yeah, what's the craziest? Saul knew already. Because Saul had him taking demons off him 5 minutes ago. So now he's trying to get a little more detail about Jesse and his family. But this dude was already saving his tail already. Like, who is this dude that took out a grown-ass killer? Read on.
And Abner said, as thy soul liveth, O king, I cannot tell.
Mm-hmm. He's like, I'll find out for you.
Well, you know what it's finna be.
This guy came from nowhere.
It's finna be your son-in-law.
Yes, sir.
That's what it's finna be.
It's crazy.
You got your daughter.
Yep. You got a lot of promises, my G.
You gotta.
I tell you what, his family don't got to pay no more bills no more, right?
Debt free.
Read on.
Verse 56. And the king said, inquire thou whose son this stripling is.
This stripling is a young man. Read on.
And as David returned from the slaughter of the Philistines.
So listen, after he took out Goliath, he went and started killing with the rest of the guys. He's this teenager smacking grown-ass guys around even then. What's that?
I got to pull this one point too. First Samuel, because he said he took all the brass and all his armor, right? He didn't take his sword, right? But in 1 Samuel 21, verse 8 and verse 9, when pretty much David has to run for his life, verse 8, and David said to Ahimelech, is there not under thine hand spear or sword? For I have neither bought my sword nor my weapons with me, because the king's business requireth haste. He was trying to escape Saul. Saul was tripping up, right? So he's trying to get out of there sneakily though, right? Mm-hmm. Verse 9, and the priest said, the sword of Goliath the Philistine, whom thou slewest in the valley of Elah. Behold, it is here wrapped in a cloth behind the ephod. If thou wilt, take it, for there is no other save here. And David said, there is none like that. Give it me. So when David left to escape from Saul, he took that sword with him.
Mm-hmm.
He made sure he got that sword out.
Gun. That was later on.
Yeah, later on down the line.
But he took all the other personal war stuff items after the fact. So let's keep going. So once again, Saul's still trying to find out who the hell is this young man and what the hell's going down. So after David joins with the warriors to take out the rest of the Philistines that were running, read on verse 57 again.
Verse 57. And as David returned from the slaughter of the Philistine, Abner took him and brought him before Saul with the head of the Philistine in his hand.
Listen, first of all, Abner was a killer too. Abner was no chump. He said, come on, man. Come on, young blood. You going to come with us, and bring that head with you, This is the gangster. Come on, you with us now. He said, this is the young killer right here. Right here.
And you know Goliath's head is stinking already.
It's heavy, stinking, funky. He ain't showered for 40 days at least.
Yeah.
Anyway,
he's rolling out.
Let him stop, man. Read verse 58.
And Saul said to him, whose son art thou, thou young man? And David answered, I am the son of thy servant Jesse, the Bethlehemite.
Listen, because all Israel at that time respected power, right? You gonna take that dude out? He got everybody's respect. He got the whole nation's respect in one swoop, right? Everybody was like, listen, man, I gotta tip my cap. That was straight strong, young blood. So listen, let's go back to the Josephus real quick. We're gonna finish this up. It's almost 2. We get like 2 chapters a Saturday now. That's the pay side. That's what happened. But it's okay. It's okay. So let's go the rest of paragraph 5, sir. Just read it from the top again. Why not? Just why the hell not?
But the youth met his antagonist, being accompanied with an invisible assistant, who was not other than the Most High himself. And taking one of the stones that he had out of the brook, and had put it into his shepherd's bag, and fitting it to his sling, he slang it against the Philistine. This stone fell upon his forehead, and sank into his brain, insomuch that Goliath was stunned, and fell upon his face. So David ran and stood upon his adversary as he lay down, and cut off his head with his own sword.
That's crazy.
For he had no sword himself. And upon the fall of Goliath, the Philistines were beaten and fled. For when they saw their champion prostrate on the ground, they were afraid of the entire issue of their affairs.
They had to reconsider everything they was doing. Like, man, nothing's working, man. We can't take these guys out. Our whole policy's off, man.
Yeah.
Read on.
That confidence is in man.
Yep. He's like, man, this dude took out the biggest guy. What the hell are we going to do? It's a teenager. Read on.
And resolved not to stay any longer.
Hell no.
But committed themselves to an ignominious and indecent flight, and thereby endeavored to save themselves from the dangers they were in. But Saul and the entire army of the Hebrews made a shout and rushed upon them.
Let's go! Let's go, guys!
Saul is always a front runner, right? He's always front runner. Don't forget,
guys.
When all those Philistines were surrounding him,
God.
and he was nervous, he was under that pomegranate tree, not knowing what to do, and his son sat back here and started the war. He was like, yeah, let's go, we're going to fight now. But he wasn't doing nothing until somebody else steps up and does the dirty work. That's his M.O., right? He don't have the courage that the other men under him had.
We did it.
Yeah, we did it. Yeah. Keep going.
But Saul and the entire army of the Hebrews made a shout and rushed upon them, and slew a great number of them, and pursued the rest to the borders of Gath, and to the gates of Ekron.
So they pushed them all the way out of their territory. Read on.
So that they were slain of the Philistines, 30,000 and twice as many wounded.
Damn, man.
But Saul returned to their camp, and pulled their fortifications to pieces, and burnt it. But David carried the head of Goliath into his own tent, but dedicated his sword to the Most High at the tabernacle.
He was taken to the tabernacle. Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly. It's to the tabernacle. And listen, that's all we got for this week. Are there any questions on this topic or anything else? Sure. Questions, comments, statements? All right. Imagine Waponya Yerushalayim. Eyes and face Jerusalem, the east. Had invisible things. Visible assistant.
It was Philippians 2 and what?
2 and 12.
2 and 12, okay.
Taking my pen. Huh?
No, I'm just running that.
Sorry. All right. Yahweh.
Yahweh.
In the name of Yahweh Shai.
In the name of Yahweh Shai.
Please listen to us right now.
Please listen to us right now.
Send Micah
Send Micah Allah.
and the righteous angels.
And the righteous angels.
To watch over.
To watch over.
Bless.
Bless.
Heal.
Heal.
Protect.
Protect.
And make strong.
And make strong.
The people of Yasharallah.
The people of Yasharallah.
Also send unto us.
Also send unto us.
Much wisdom.
Much wisdom.
Much knowledge.
Much knowledge.
Much understanding.
Much understanding.
Much patience.
Much patience.
Much faith.
Much faith.
Much brotherhood.
Much brotherhood.
And much love.
And much love.
Spiritual power.
Spiritual power.
And forgive all of our sins.
And forgive all of our sins.
Yahweh Shai, come quickly.
Yahweh Shai, come quickly.
For in thee.
For in thee
is our hope.
is our hope.
Always.
Always.
And forever.
And forever.
Amen.
Amen.
Barakatah Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai.
Barakatah Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai.
Hahawa up. Nathan Lenawa. Hathawa.
Blessed are you, Yahweh, in the name of Yahweh Shai, that gives to us the law.
Barakatah Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai.
Barakatah Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai.
Hahawa up. Nathan Lenawa. Award.
Blessed are you, Yahweh, in the name of Yahweh Shai, that gives us the light to see.
3. Barakatah Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai.
Barakatah Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai.
Hahawa up. Nathan Lenawa. Ha'ayah. Korah. Ha'ayin.
Blessed are you, Yahweh, in the name of Yahweh Shai, that gives us the ram's horn to call the people.
Barakatah Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai.
Barakatah Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai.
Hahawa up. Nathan Lenawa. Shaman. Zayat. Lamashah. Yasharallah.
Blessed are you, Yahweh, in the name of Yahweh Shai, that gives to us the olive oil to anoint Israel.
Okay. Psalms 92. It is a good thing to give thanks unto the Lord.
It is a good thing to give thanks unto the Lord.
And to sing praise unto thy name.
And to sing praise unto thy name.
O Yahweh.
O Yahweh.
To show forth thy loving kindness.
To show forth thy loving kindness.
In the morning.
In the morning.
And thy faithfulness.
And thy faithfulness.
Every night.
Every night.
Upon an instrument of 10 strings.
Upon an instrument of 10 strings.
And upon the psaltery.
And upon the psaltery.
Upon the harp.
Upon the harp.
With the solemn sound.
With the solemn sound.
For thou, Yahweh, hast made me glad through thy work.
Has made me glad through thy work.
I will triumph in the works of thy hands.
I will triumph in the works of thy hands.
O Yahweh,
O Yahweh,
how great are thy works.
How great are thy works.
And thy thoughts are very deep.
And thy thoughts are very deep.
A brutish man knoweth not.
A brutish man knoweth not.
Neither doth the fool understand this.
Neither doth the fool understand this.
When the wicked spring as the grass.
When the wicked spring as the grass.
And when all the workers of iniquity do flourish.
And when all the workers of iniquity do flourish.
It is that they shall be destroyed forever.
It is that they shall be destroyed forever.
But thou, Yahweh, art most high forevermore.
Art most high forevermore.
For lo thine enemies.
For lo thine enemies.
O Yahweh.
O Yahweh.
For lo thine enemies shall perish.
For lo thine enemies shall perish.
All the workers of iniquity.
All the workers of iniquity.
Shall be scattered.
Shall be scattered.
But my horn shalt thou exalt.
My horn shalt thou exalt.
Like the horn of a unicorn.
Like the horn of a unicorn.
I shall be anointed with fresh oil.
I shall be anointed with fresh oil.
Mine eye also shall see.
Mine eye also shall see.
My desire on my enemies.
My desire on my enemies.
And my ears shall hear.
And my ears shall hear.
My desire.
My desire.
Of the wicked.
Of the wicked.
That rise up against me.
That rise up against me.
The righteous shall flourish like the palm tree.
The righteous shall flourish like the palm tree.
He shall grow like a cedar in Lebanon.
He shall grow like a cedar in Lebanon.
Those that be planted in the house of the Lord.
Those that be planted in the house of the Lord.
Shall flourish in the courts of our power.
Shall flourish in the courts of our power.
They shall still bring forth fruit in old age.
They shall still bring forth fruit in old age.
They shall be fat and flourishing.
They shall be fat and flourishing.
To show that the Lord is upright.
To show that the Lord is upright.
He is my rock.
He is my rock.
There is no unrighteousness in him.
And there is no unrighteousness in him.
By Hashem Yahushua.
By Hashem Yahushua.
Psalms 133. Shayor,
Shayor,
Kama Iowa, Laduwad, Hana, Ma, Tawab, Wama, Na'ayam, Shabbat, Akim, Gum, Yachad, Hashaman, Hatawab, Ayo, Hara'ash, Yerad, Ayo, Hazaquan, Aharan, Shayarad, Ayo, Hayah, Manawat Yawa, Qatar, Karamwan, Shayarad, Ayo, Haroria, Tazayawan, Kaya, Sham, Tazawah, Yehovah, Habaraka, Kayaya, Hawalam, Hashem Yahushua.
Psalms 133. Behold, how good and how pleasant it is for brethren to dwell together in unity. It is like the precious ointment upon the head that ran down upon the beard, even Aaron's beard, that went down to the skirts of his garments, as the dew of Hermon, and as the dew that descended upon the mountains of Zion. For there the Lord commanded the blessing, even life evermore. Amen.
Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushua, Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushua, Rachno, Rashradet, Robiat, support, turn. Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushua, Rachno, Rashradet, Robiat, support, turn. Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushua, Rachno, Rashradet, Robiat, support. Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushua, Rachno, Rashradet, Robiat, support. Rock they ho, rock they ho shot, rock they ho, rock they ho shot, rock they ho, rock they ho shot, rock they ho shot. All knowledge, all wisdom, all understanding, all love, all mercy, all power from your house, all power from your house, all power from your house. Ba'Shem Yahushua, the word, the Yad, circle up.
Zooming out in the heavenly orders, Yahweh, Yahushua, will call Yasharah from Israel, Margin, Rock, Yahweh, Stop, sisters. Please stand. Zooming out, the daughters of Zion, when Israel, Margin, Rock,
Yashmatap, dismiss. Follow up. Israel tomorrow tuning in. See y'all on Monday, alright? Shalom.